Cube. If I can right there, we need to see it real quick just for a second. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome once again to Ralph E. Davis Stadium, where this afternoon the Platteville Pioneers will take on the Stevens Point Pointers here at Ralph E. Davis Stadium in Platteville. Todd Albaugh, glad to be along with you this afternoon in place of your regular announcers, Brian Dolan and Tim King, who are off this afternoon. And joining me here at Ralph E. Davis Stadium in Platteville is a pleasure to work this afternoon with Jim Reed. Good afternoon, Jim.
Thanks, Todd. And even though it's as cold as it was in Stout last weekend when I was at Stout, I'm still feeling the side effects of the cold from working the radio game in Stout. This one, I have to say, is a little bit warmer, but if we get rid of the rain, it'd be a pretty decent game.
Almost perfect football weather.
Almost perfect. Personally, this is my kind of football weather.
Yeah, if we wouldn't have the rain, though, that's a little damp. We have our umbrella, and we're all set to go for you. And Jim's going to give us the starting lineups for this afternoon's game.
All right, for the UW Stevens Point offense, first of all, leading the attack is quarterback Roger Harry. The running backs are Robert Reed and Jimmy Henderson. The flanker is Dean Bryan, and the split end, Barry Rose. For the Pointers at the line, it's Troy Fisher and Leroy Dobson at the tackles. The guards are Dean Bowe and Kurt Krieger. The center is Ben Hoffman. For the defense for Platteville, quickly, the end is John Schmidt. The tackles are Jerry Verstegen and Mike Leinstock. Oh, excuse me, that is the Platteville. That is the Stevens Point defense. Let's go to the Platteville defense. It is Jeff Cuter. Mike Benoit is the tackle. The nose guard is Kenny Nice. And the other end is Mike Minnell. Linebackers are Mike Lenher, Bruce Feige, Todd Karch, and the cornerbacks, Phil Spendy and Eric Sikarski. The safeties, Greg Franzen and Randy Kleinhans.
Sounds good, Jim, as we have had our national anthem played earlier this afternoon, also the flip of the coin, and it will be Platteville that will be receiving. And in the backfield for Platteville right now is number 22, Lee Phillips, all set to receive as we are set for action. Thanks for joining us here from Ralph E. Davis Stadium in Platteville on a rainy afternoon. Platteville takes the ball up the sideline. Kind of a funny kick there, Jim, to start things off.
A little low for Yazua, who took the catch, or took the ball from about the 20-yard line, gained about 15 on the play. Pioneers should start fairly decent field position at the 34-yard line.
Now, looking at Platteville, you've had a chance to watch them more than I over the past year. How do they start when they first come out in the opening parts of the game?
Well, usually you're going to see the ball to Dave Fisher or Del Santo. Right now, I have to say it's Fisher's call, and he's in motion.
Eric Wixom hands off, and it looks like almost no gain on the play.
It went to Del Santo that time, and so they always start with a running play. It's either Fisher or Del Santo. Now look for Tom Steger or another running play.
Looking back at last week's game, Jim, of course, UW Platteville taking a tough loss on the road, while Platteville, while UW Stevens Point continues a 4-game winning streak. So definitely the Pioneers looking to pick up a win here as they are 2-3-1 in conference, and Stevens Point much better. Number 33, Tom Steger, on the handoff up the sidelines. And did he get a gain?
I think he gained maybe a yard or two on that play. We're definitely looking at a 3rd and long here, 3rd and 7.
And a couple of times when I have seen the Pioneers here at home, they've come up on some big 3rd down plays this year. Head coach George Christ, I think, has been working on that a lot in talking with him over the past week, and he said he'd like to see those big 3rd down plays.
Well, Wixom can throw, so look for Obernader or Rod Johnson or Rundy even on a reception here.
Wixom back to pass, and it was complete, or at least it appeared so. No gain on the play. That will not be the first down, so Platteville will be forced to punt. But a nice scoop there, nonetheless, by the Pioneers.
Russ Jakes made the catch, and it was a good catch because he slipped and fell right before the ball landed in his hands. It was a good throw by Wixom. Unfortunately, he couldn't get up in time and as a result, it's 4th down.
Now, of course, in the NFL, those would be one of those plays where they would have to look at instant replay probably to see if it was a complete pass or not, but thank goodness we don't have that here. And the punt for Platteville, and it's up and good, and bringing up the sidelines here for the Stevens Point Pointers. I'm not sure we caught the name of the player there. Jim, did you get him?
It's one of those names that's hard to pronounce.
We have a lot of those.
I'm going to take a guess. Malin Mecklink.
All right, Macklink, sounds good to me. Nonetheless, we're continuing to play now, and it's 1st down and 10, of course, for the Stevens Point Pointers as they will start from about the 43-yard line of their own 43.
All right, let's see how Roger Howery does at quarterback for the Pointers.
Howery setting up the team, gets the play off, hands off, and actually keeps it himself. No, he handed off. You fooled even me anyway. It's kind of hard to see from a vantage point there.
It looked from here like it was an option play, but right up the middle, I didn't see who had the ball at that point either.
Neither did I. In any case, no gain, though, on the play. It'll be 2nd and 10. There have been a lot of times, Jim, on the opportunities I've had to see the Pioneers this year when their defense has really held the opponents and saved a lot of games for Coach George Christ.
Well, a good example is the Student Appreciation Night when they were 1st and goal against Oshkosh, and this defense is tough, especially when the opponent gets down.
It was an outstanding game, and it was tipped but no good as the defense once again comes through. That was number 36, Greg Franzen, breaking up the play.
Looks like he could have made the interception, but he was already committed to hitting his man right before he caught the ball, and if he was playing a little bit softer, he probably would have picked that ball off.
A lot of times they'll go back to the huddle and say, boy, I wish I could have got that play. But anyway, they break it up, but that's the important thing.
Needless to say, a good play by Franzen.
That's right. 3rd down and 10 for Stevens Point as the Pioneer defense continues to stifle the Pointers here at Ralph E. Davis Stadium this afternoon. A long pass and it's completed to number 1.
Dean Bryan.
Dean Bryan, what a beautiful pass set up there by the Pointers of Stevens Point this afternoon.
He was wide open. Lee Phillips, I think, was on the coverage, and he got burned a little bit. Again, the field is slippery. I think his feet got tangled up a little bit there. It left Bryan wide open, and it was a great catch.
It certainly was. It'll be 1st and 10 down on the Pioneer 20. As the Pioneers once again set up their defensive formations and tried to shut down the Stevens Point offense. Number 5, Roger Howery at quarterback, once again calling the plays. 11:49 to go in the 1st quarter. And incomplete pass.
Howery overthrew his man that time. That was intended for Barry Rose, and the ball just basically thrown out of bounds, out of Rose's reach.
A good job by the defense, I think, of confusing some of the Pointers at Stevens Point. Howery again calling the plays for for Stevens Point, and he hands off. As it gets down, it will be short to the 1st down or so, it appears. Jim, a gain of about 8 possibly on the play.
Robert Reed on the carry, and as you said, close to the 1st down. They'll be about a yard, maybe 2 short of the 1st.
A gain of 7, the announcer tells us over the intercom here this afternoon.
3rd and 3, the ball on the 13-yard line.
I think, Jim, in games like this, it really is important to score first, especially with the weather conditions deteriorating. It's important to get in there and get that first touchdown, and whoever does that, I think, has the short-term advantage. But Platteville does a good job in stifling, once again.
Again, the defense in that when the opponent's offense gets deep in that end zone, the defense sticks it to them. As a result, holds them.
That's right.
And now Point will have to go for the field goal.
4th down play here, and a blocked attempt, a blocked field goal is not out of the question here for the defense of the Pointer, I should say the Pioneers.
In this weather, anything can happen. Dave Schneider is the kicker for the Pointers.
The snap, the kick is down, and it's good.
Right through the middle is a good kick, and as a result, Stevens Point leads this one early. It's 3-0 with 10:23 left to play in the first quarter.
Well, looking back, Jim, from last week's action, first of all, as we go to the Platteville game, you were at that, so maybe you can fill us in a little bit on last week's action for the Pointers. The Pioneers, I should say.
The final score was 15-8, and it was 15-0 all the way to the fourth quarter, and the Pioneers made a score, got the 2-point conversion. It was 15-8, and they had 2 chances with time running out in the fourth quarter to score. Unfortunately, a fumble. They lost on downs. As a result, couldn't get in for that final score. As a result, fell 15-8. It was a tough loss. It was really a good game considering the weather and all.
All right, now, Jim, I just interrupt you a second. Number 36 down there for Platteville, Greg Franzen, was down with some kind of an injury, apparently a knee injury or some sort of leg injury. We don't want to speculate, but they're getting him off fairly quickly, and hopefully that is not too serious for the Platteville Pioneers.
He's not walking on his own. Looks like his left knee or left ankle.
And we'll try and get a report at halftime on Greg Franzen and find out exactly what the injury was. Anyway, go ahead with the game there. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I thought
That's
we should.
All right. I was almost done anyway, but that game was a must-win for the Pioneers if they wanted to keep any playoff dreams alive. But hard game for the Pioneers to lose.
Yeah, it certainly was. As far as UW Stevens Point last week, as we said, they continue a 4-0 winning streak as they took on Superior and won that game. The kickoff once again after the Pointer field goal. And once again, number 22 for the Platteville Pioneers runs the ball up the sidelines. Lee Phillips gets a good gain for Platteville.
He doesn't go down easily, and he usually gets the Pioneers in good field position.
So it will be 1st and 10 this afternoon here at Ralph E. Davis Stadium on the Platteville, looks like about the 33-yard line of the Pioneers. They will start there. And the rains have let up a little bit, continued drizzle here at Platteville at the stadium this afternoon under an overcast sky as you would expect. Temperatures holding in the lower 50s here this afternoon. Number 31, Rob Del Santo getting the call for the Pioneers.
Unfortunately, I don't think he gained anything. We'll wait for forward progress, see where they mark the ball, but it'll be a loss of about 3 on the play.
9:50 to go in the contest, at least in the first quarter here of the contest here. Thanks for joining us. Todd Allball with Jim Mead along with you this afternoon in place of your regular announcers, Brian Dolan and Tim King, as they are on assignments, the respective assignments this week. We're glad to be here with you for Pioneer football. Eric Wixom setting up the pass. It's over and it's caught. A wonderful reception there by number 12. That is Ron Hayes. An outstanding catch by him.
It almost looked like a timing pattern because Wixom had thrown the ball exactly where Hayes was going to be at that particular time. It was a great timing pattern. Great catch by Hayes.
It really is, and in conditions like this, Jim, I think you have to give the receivers a little bit of extra credit because the ball's a little bit hard to hang on to when you get the mist and the mud on there, and it really takes a lot of talent and concentration, I think, to be with your quarterback on the concentration and bring that pass down. Wixom, again, looking for the first down, and he will escape a backfield attack and now be taken down by Stevens Point in the backfield for a loss. That was number 77 on the tackle on the quarterback sack for Stevens Point.
Eric McGatt on the tackle for the
All right. So it will be another fourth down play here for Platteville.
Brian Cohn with his second punt today.
And a nice punt. And a fumble on the near side. I'm not sure who recovered there. Did you see there, Jim?
One of the Pointers had recovered the fumble just as he was going out of bounds, so it'll be the Pointers' ball on about the 46-yard line.
Number 16, Rob Hare on the recovery there for the Pointers. Just once again to reiterate how slippery the conditions are out there on the field this afternoon. In any event, it will be first down and 10 for the Stevens Point Pointers this afternoon. So once again, it will be up to the defense. And Jim, looking at Wisconsin teams as far as football goes, a lot of defense has been the key. Looking at the Packers, it's been the Packer defense that kept them in some games, even though they've lost 6 in a row. In any event, also though for the Badgers of Madison, the defense there. Once again, the defense here for the Pioneers, looking to hold the offense down.
Well, if I could, before I left the stadium or left for the stadium from my place, I can tell you the score of the Badger game early in the first quarter if you want to hear it.
Sure, I would love it. I think I want to hear it.
Brett Moss, 55-yard touchdown run. Badgers were up 7-0 when I left early in the first quarter.
Wonderful, wonderful. That sounds good to me. I will look forward to nervous anticipation later on after the game to find out exactly what that score is. But good deal. We hope the same luck rubs off onto the Pioneers here at Ralph E. Davis Stadium this afternoon. A long pass downfield, and it's caught, but was it out of bounds at the time?
Yep.
That will be the call, and indeed the referee signals that number 33 for Stevens Point, that would be James Melcher, was out of bounds, but nonetheless a nice catch. We have to give him credit.
Looks like it was Rose, 32.
Oh, excuse me.
Who was making.
I forgot my glasses this afternoon, so you'll have to bear with me at times.
They got the lights on in the studio, in the stadium.
That's right, they do.
So
it is a dark afternoon.
That's understandable. A little dark.
In any case, third down, looking for a 10-yard play to get the first down for the Pointers. As they set up the pass pattern once again, it's a pass over to the far side, but broken up nicely. If we can catch the number of the player, number 25, it looks like, Jim.
Brad Schomer, nice play, almost made the interception.
He really did. Just a wonderful job over there. And once again, the defense has held the Stevens Point Pointers, and they will be forced to punt again. It will be fourth down.
Well, here's the name. We're going to say number 42 because I think I murdered his name the first time.
Okay.
But he'll be punting the ball.
And the punt is low, and it was very low, nearly blocked. And number 22 for Platteville gets the nice return, runs up the far sidelines to about the 31, 32-yard line, and there he is driven out of bounds by the Stevens Point Pointers. So another nice return by Lee Phillips of Platteville.
Now let's hope the Pioneers can get on the other end of the field now.
Get across the halfway stripe here. 7 minutes to go here in the first quarter of play from Ralph E. Davis Stadium. It is Stevens Point 3, the Platteville Pioneers nothing. Stevens Point picking up an early field goal to lead this contest. Eric Wixom, the play caller for the Platteville Pioneers, has his team at the line. Hands off and really no gain almost on the play.
Looks like Del Santo again.
Indeed it is Del Santo, the ball carrier for the Pioneers. And in fact, as a matter of fact, Jim, it looks like a loss of one on the play.
Yep. They are keying on him early because in his last 3 carries, he hasn't gained any yardage. As a matter of fact, he's lost probably a total of about 5 yards.
I would say so. And you know better than I, but we were talking before the game. You said Del Santo really has been a key ball carrier for Platteville. Possibly Stevens Point scouting him out a little bit. Once again, a pass pattern by Wixom, and he gets away nicely, but then brought down. A nice job to get away, Jim, in the backfield, but then he just couldn't hold off the defense there.
Unfortunately, that missed tackle only allowed Wixom to gain maybe 2 yards, but he's still sacked. The second one, last week at Stout, Wixom was sacked about 7 or 8 times, and that really hurt the Pioneers. And if Platteville wants to go ahead in this game, win the game, they've got to cut down on the sacks.
It will be third down and 16 yards to go. The first down play, 5:46 left to go in the first quarter. Again, Wixom calling out the signal action for the Platteville Pioneers this afternoon. Another pass pattern set up, but a long pass over the middle, and it's good to number 31 for Platteville, that being Rob Del Santo, and he can indeed catch the ball as well as run it, Jim.
You thought he was dead on the run. Here he comes up with a big 20-yard gain. Nice pass from Wixom to Del Santo, and that'll put them at the midfield stripe, first down and 10.
Finally, they get there, and the first time all afternoon, Platteville has been able to at least threaten at the 50-yard stripe, and it will, as Jim said, first and 10 here to go. 5:23 left in the first quarter. Once again, Wixom calling the play action for the Platteville Pioneers. A running pattern, and he gets about maybe a yard or two on the play. Jim, who was the ball carrier, did you see?
That's 31, Del Santo again.
So Rob Del Santo, once again, doing what he's done all year, keying the play action for the Platteville Pioneers. And finally, Jim, they do get across the 50-yard stripe here this afternoon.
49.5-yard line in Pointer territory.
But that's where things begin. And if you can begin somewhere, who knows what's going to happen down at the other end. Wixom again calling the action from the quarterback position, and it looked like a pass pattern, and now Wixom will run it himself. He passes up the sideline, but it will be incomplete.
Looks like the intended receiver was Joey Obernader, but ball way short. He either slipped or he was knocked down, but he couldn't get back to the ball. It was
Wixom feeling a lot of pressure, too, in the backfield, as I think he did a good job just to get the pass off in itself.
Had to throw on the run as a result in the slippery conditions.
That's a hard play to complete for a quarterback. But Wixom doing a nice job getting the pass off. 4:33 left in play. 3-0. The Stevens Point Pointers lead the Platteville Pioneers this afternoon at Ralph E. Davis Stadium. Third down play and about 8 yards to go for Platteville. As Wixom once again sets up the pass pattern, it's over and complete to number 89.
It's Rod Johnson.
Rod Johnson, I believe his first pass completion of the afternoon, Jim.
Yep. The tight end, he shares time with Dan Rundy, and that is probably the most fit position the Pioneers have, I believe. They have Johnson, they have Rundy, two great tight ends. Rundy's going in for Johnson right now. It's just the depth at tight end is just incredible.
Well, that's certainly what the Platteville Pioneers need here to get them on the board in the first quarter. It could be done. 4:13 left to go in play. As Wixom once again calling out action. He's in the backfield feeling pressure as he will run it himself. He will run it up the sidelines, and he is tripped up there by number 18, I believe that was, of the Stevens Point Pointers on the tackle there by Wixom.
Randy Simpson on the tackle. Wixom took it on his own, gained about half the yardage, we'll say. As a result, it'll be second down. Second and 3.
Second and 3. So Wixom doing some work himself here as he picks up some yardage on the ground. Platteville Pioneers looking to score here before the first quarter runs out. Wixom back again and hands off to number 46. And, well, did they get any coverage? Did they get the first down? It'll be close. It'll be close, but we'll have to wait for the official's call there.
We'll have to see where they mark the ball here.
Number 46, Dave Fisher, the ball carrier there for Platteville.
Our drizzle and wind have picked up here at the stadium.
That's right. But we will stay here and bring you this afternoon's game as you can watch it in your dorm room or in your home, wherever you are, in the comforts of your own area. Our advisor, Jack O'Neill, is always watching games as he sits there and munching on popcorn over there at the crossroads of the nation. Anyway, that's what he tells us.
Where is he? I don't see him.
He's here tonight somewhere this afternoon. Wixom once again passing, I should say, handing off to number 33.
Tom
Steger. And did they get the first down? Another close play. They may bring the chain gang in.
I don't think they're going to have to.
The referee takes a timeout. We'll see what happens,
Yep.
and indeed they will. They will bring the chain gang in to see exactly. It's close. As we look at our monitor here, and just inches. Look at that, Jim. On our monitor here, we can see that it's very, very close, and I would say no more than 4 inches.
4th and 1. You go for it?
I think you do early. I think you do early.
A little too deep, I think, for a field goal. Platteville has been struggling in the last couple of games with their field goal kickers, their place kickers.
And it appears that Platteville will indeed go for it, Jim.
Look out for the quarterback sneak here.
All
That's
right.
my prediction.
4th down and 4 inches to go. He hands off. Wixom hands off, and he gets the first down. Number 33 going down the sideline, and he's still going, and it's close, and it's a touchdown. Touchdown for the Platteville Pioneers on a 4th down play, and Jim, you have to be impressed by the Pioneers.
Great play. So much for my predictions. Wixom hands off to Tom Steger, and a 21-yard run. He broke a couple of tackles, fell into the end zone. The ball was fumbled, but they said that the ground caused the fumble. As a result, it's a touchdown. It's 6-3 Platteville.
Wonderful play by the Platteville Pioneers, going for it on 4th down. It shows a lot of guts and glory by head coach George Christ, as well as the entire Platteville football organization. They set up for the extra point here at Ralph E. Davis Stadium, and the stadium comes alive. The kick is up, and it's no good.
Again, problems with the Platteville kicking. Sikarski's kick a little low, wide to the left, it looked like from here. As a result, now Platteville leads 6-3.
But for the moment, at least, they have the lead here from Ralph E. Davis Stadium. 2:15 to go. Thank you for joining us this afternoon, or wherever you are tonight, or this afternoon, wherever you're watching the game, for Pioneer football in this 1991 season. A sparse but dedicated crowd across the way, as we can see our Platteville loyal fans over there. And also nice to have the Platteville Marching Band here, Jim, once again, as they renewed their efforts to be active. And we certainly appreciate their efforts, as well as I'm sure the football team does, and all the fans here as well. Always good to have a marching band at a football game.
You got it. And today's Parents' Day, too, so
That's
you see
right.
a lot of parents with students out in the stands today, braving the cold and the rain.
That's right. My parents are here, and we ate at Glenview Commons earlier. They shared some food over there. Got to go through the dish-washing line. We taught them how to do that. And indeed, you are correct. A lot of parents here would like to see their young men do well at Ralph E. Davis Stadium. Platteville leads the contest 6-3, 2:15 to go in this first quarter of play. The kickoff, once again, by number 9, Eric Saharski. And a high floating kick, a nice kick by Eric Saharski to start things off here for the Pioneers. As that was number 1, I believe, wasn't it, Jim, receiving?
Yep. Dean Bryan, the wide receiver, usually. He's the one that caught that great pass that led to the
All
field
right.
goal. He's also the kick returner for the Pointers, and a fairly good runner.
Yeah.
Gets it out to about the 36-yard line, it looks like.
So it will be 1st and 10 for the Stevens Point Pointers, as they will try to come back down and even things up or possibly go ahead. Meanwhile, Platteville tries once again to hold the line, and the defense has done a good job here this afternoon. A gain of about 5, I believe, Jim, on the play.
Robert Reed, the fullback, made that carry. He looks like he carried a couple of Pioneers with him to gain 5 yards. He was hit right on the line, but a good run by Reed.
The coaches of Stevens Point have had him in the weight room, I think, working out a little bit.
Not very big, only 5'9", but he packs a load.
Once again, quarterback Roger Howery for Stevens Point, setting up a play call for the Pointers as he hands off, he hands off to number 6, and for a good gain right down the far sideline, and he fooled a lot of the defensive players for Platteville, Jim.
That was an option play to Reed. It was a fake out. It faked a lot of the Pioneers out, as a matter of fact. The quick option to Reed, and as a result, gained about 20 yards first down, and they have very good field position right now in Platteville territory.
Indeed they do. 1st and 10 for the Stevens Point Pointers, as we are prepared once again to march down the lines. At least the Pointers are, and Platteville trying to stop them. Roger Howery setting up the play action once again for the Pointers, as he sets up for a pass pattern, and he passes over. Play broken up once again. And Jim, that's what the second or third time the Platteville defense has been able to break up a play by the Pointers.
That pass was deflected, it looked like, by number 88, Mike Marty. Great defensive play. There was no receiver, I think, that could have gotten to it,
No.
because the intended receiver, as well as our defensive back both slipped on that play, so it wouldn't have been complete anyway, but still a good play by Marty.
Certainly is. A minute 14 left to go in the first quarter of action here from Ralph E. Davis Stadium. Platteville leads the contest 6-3 over Stevens Point. And once again, the Platteville Pioneer defense just stifling.
Looks like they stopped Reed on that play.
A loss of 2 or 3 on the play at least. 3rd and 12.
Lost a couple on that play. Great play by the lineman for the Pioneers.
Certainly was. Once again, Roger Howry looking to go long probably on the 3rd down play. We'll see what happens. Howry back to throw, and he can't find a receiver until now, and then he does, but no good, as he had double coverage there by number 51 and number 50 of the Pioneers.
Bruce Fege is 51. You know, he's our defensive monster,
That's
as you
right.
would say.
That's right.
Mark Lenher also on the coverage.
Fege last week being named National NCAA Division III Defensive Player of the Week.
Right there's a good play, a good example of why. You know.
Exactly. And what an honor for Fege. National Player of the Week last year as far as the defense goes. So Stevens Point will be forced to punt, and they call for a fair catch. Number 22 does.
Lee Phillips lets it go over his head, however, with 18 seconds left in this first quarter. The ball goes into the end zone. Platteville will start at what is now their worst field position at the 20-yard line. Still not too bad.
At least we'll try again to get down there in the end zone, and Platteville proved it could last time. The thing is, Jim, the Platteville defense didn't let another score for Stevens Point.
Oh.
Keeps it at 6-3, and I think that's important, especially as we enter into the second quarter, to be able to hold that advantage. As we said, weather conditions are supposed to be deteriorating as we're expecting more showers this afternoon. And now we have a penalty flag thrown on the play. No word yet from the officials. They're talking it over at midfield. It'll be against Platteville.
I didn't see who moved. I saw the Pointers move, but I didn't see who exactly moved on the Pioneers. But
I didn't either.
Someone did.
In any case, it will be first down and 15 now, as we'll do the down over. First and 15 for the Platteville Pioneers. Eric Wixom once again calling the action as he tries to draw Stevens Point off the line, but to no avail. In any case, he does hand it off, and the Pioneers are going to get a run up the side.
A good run. It was carried by Del Santo. He got to the original line of scrimmage. It'll be 2nd and 9, gain of about 6. And look at that. Platteville ahead 6-3 at the end of the first.
Well, we thank you for joining us from Ralph E. Davis Stadium. As Jim said, Platteville leads 6-3 at the end of the second quarter as we hear across the way the Platteville Pioneer Marching Band. As we look at some of the other stats as far as the game goes here at the end of the first quarter, the last time that UW Stevens Point and the Platteville Pioneers, that is, met here, there was scoring 2 safeties to provide the edge in defeating the Pioneers. The Pointers did. 11-9 was the final score as Stevens Point won that contest in the first WSUC game of the 1990 season for both squads. Now, Platteville rallied in the fourth quarter, but the tying 2-point conversion pass fell incomplete, and the Pointers crushed the Pioneers' ground attack, which finished with a minus 13 yards rushing. So, Jim, the Platteville Pioneers are looking for a little revenge this year as they lost a very tough contest up there at Stevens Point, 11-9 last time around.
Well, this is the perfect time to even the score. I mean, the weather conditions miserable for both teams, but you're playing at your stadium, your home.
That's right. You didn't have the long bus trip either. And a long pass, incomplete. I believe that's intended for number 11, if I'm not mistaken there.
Did you hear that?
Wisconsin 17, Indiana nothing at halftime. The Badger homecoming. The fans are excited. Indeed, down at the capital city of Madison, 17 to nothing. UW looking for its first Big Ten Conference win, and it looks as if though Barry Alvarez might finally get a break. Here at Ralph E. Davis Stadium, Wixom passes. It's a long pass, and it's complete at the 50-yard line to number 33, Jim.
Tom Steger again, a great catch. He had to come back to the ball. He was looking at the ball all the way, the D-bag for point, just looking at Steger. As a result, he got burned on that play, and Steger had to come back to that ball. It was underthrown, and just a great play by Tom Steger. As a result, they are inside, or just past, the 50-yard line, and it's a first down.
Tom Steger being a real force here at Platteville's Pioneer Stadium this afternoon in getting things done. He scored the first touchdown to make it 6-3. Once again now, 1st and 10 for Platteville. Wixom hands off, and a short gain possibly on the play.
Looks like Del Santo carried it for another 2 yards. Getting back to the Badgers, I read the paper this morning, 14-point underdogs to the Hoosiers today. ESPN picked, though, the Badgers as one of 3 upset games.
Really?
And
well, you know what? It's interesting to bring it up, Jim, because I really think the Badgers have potential down there. I think Barry Alvarez is the coach to get things done. And I think if you give Barry some time, I think the Badgers are going to be right in there fighting for the Big Ten Conference Championship in a few years.
A great game after the one in Purdue last week, too.
It certainly was.
This would be a great uplifter for everyone, and Wisconsin's homecoming, too.
That's right. What a wonderful homecoming for those Badger fans. Here at Ralph E. Davis Stadium, Wixom making a long pass once again down the sidelines. It was intended to number 12, Ron Hayes, but broken up nicely by the Platteville, I should say, by the Stevens Point Pointers. The Pointers and the Pioneers. Kind of get your tongue tied there, but they are indeed 2 different teams.
Well, we were announcing at Stout last weekend, and me and Tim King is try talking and shaking at the same time. That's how cold it was.
Wixom back to pass again, and he does over the sidelines, and it's caught by number 31,
Rob Del Santo.
Rob
again.
Del Santo.
He can't gain too much on the ground today, but he's got 2 big receptions that have led to first downs.
And isn't it ironic, Jim, that on a day when we have bad weather conditions, it seems to be the Platteville Pioneer passing game that's getting things done, rather than, of course, the running. Speaking of running and passing games, I don't know if you follow high school football that much, but my alma mater, the Richland Center Hornets, captured the SWAL1 Division I Conference Championship. Congratulations to head coach of Vitus Rip and Jim Harris. They got the running game going there in similar weather conditions on Friday night. Wixom taking the ball himself up the sidelines. He's looking down to pass, and he does. He gets it off to number 31. And what a great play by Eric Wixom to get the play off on the run again, Jim.
To Rob Del Santo once again, and it looked like a sack. Del Santo was right in the middle of the field there, wide. I saw no defender close to him during the reception. Wixom just saw the field very well on the run. Great pass, great catch.
Now, Jim, that is where Del Santo and Wixom, they have to have that. They have to have that down in practice. They have to have a common knowledge of where things are going to go. They have to be able to get that play off, and indeed they did. Nice a job of coordination there by Wixom and Del Santo. Del Santo, the ball carrier once again from Wixom. Not quite as big as gain this time, but a short gain nonetheless. Second down, 8 yards to go. And very close now to the end zone. Ball resting approximately on the 10, I guess the 9-yard line, isn't it, Jim?
Yep, it's in between the 9 and the 10 if you want to get technical about it. But we'll call it a long 9 or a short 10. One of the
Sounds good to me. Wixom once again handing it off. No, he keeps it. He passes, and it was blocked. But the ball was down on the ground before Stevens Point recovered, so it will just be an incomplete pass.
Well, that makes us even. Each team has had a pass deflected
right.
now.
third down, 8 yards to go, looking to get into the end zone once again. Ball resting on the 9.5-yard line, or thereabouts. 12 minutes, 17 seconds to go in the first half of play. Platteville leads this contest 6-3 over Stevens Point, and they are looking to widen that margin right now. Eric Wixom, once again the ball handler, as he keeps the ball looking for a pass pattern. He has a lot of time as he is looking now, and he passes off, and the ball is deflected and almost picked off, Jim.
Del Santo, I believe, was the intended receiver. It looked like he was triple teamed.
He really was.
Dangerous pass in the middle of the end zone there.
And Stevens Point very nearly, Jim, had the interception there off the deflection.
Looks like they're going to go with Sikarsky to kick the field goal here. I don't want to seem negative toward the kicking team or to Eric at all, but I really wish they would have gotten the score because the kicking team has been struggling.
Here's a chance to change all that around, I guess. No, it was a fake. It was a fake, and it's a touchdown. It is a touchdown, Jim.
Great
That
play.
was a wonderful play, and Platteville leads this contest by even a wider margin now. 12-3, the current score, as they'll look to go for the extra point. But what a wonderful play devised there by the Platteville offense, Jim.
The catch was made by, it looked like Dave Fisher, and it was a great play. The fake field goal, and like I said, the touchdown is a lot better than the field goal.
I think they were reading your mind, Jim. The Platteville coaches knew what you were talking about.
Let's see if we see the two-point conversion here. I wouldn't doubt it.
All right, sounds good.
Well, Wixom's out there, so.
Wixom indeed is there, as we will now await. Wixom back to pass. He's looking for the two-point conversion. He's running himself down the sidelines, and he passes off, and it's over the head, just over the head. And once again, a great job by Wixom just to get the pass off. It was intended, Jim. I can't really see the numbers
It was
from
the
here.
89, Rod Johnson.
All right. Rod Johnson
overthrew him just a little bit.
And Rod made a good attempt to get up there and bring that ball down, but to no avail, as Eric Wixom, once again, just an outstanding job to get the passes off on the run this afternoon. Nonetheless, Platteville once again widens their margin over the Stevens Point Pointers, 12-3, 12:06 to go in this first half of play, here from Ralph E. Davis Stadium.
This is maybe the week where everybody wins on our side. The Badgers are ahead.
That's right.
Pioneers are ahead. Packers play Tampa Bay. Someone has got to win.
That's
there.
true. That's true. I heard tickets for that game are very slow, Jim.
Oh, Tampa Bay? Well, I'm not going to buy one.
No, I don't think I would either. We await the kickoff once again by number 9, Eric Saharsky of the Platteville Pioneer team. Let's see if he can get another good kickoff, another high floater, such as the one last time around. Was this a snowflake, or what is this? I don't know. Maybe somebody has dandruff above us sitting up there. I'm not sure. Looks like it was snowing there for a second.
Well, that's the only thing we haven't gotten yet.
That's true. A low kickoff by Saharsky for the Platteville Pioneers, picked up off the ground there by number 43.
Pete Dietz on the low catch, actually, from the low kick.
All right.
Gained maybe about 3 yards on the return.
First down and 10 for the Stevens Point Pointers. Ball resting on the 38-yard line of Stevens Point. A pass, short pass over the middle there to number 32, complete for a couple of yards there. Barry Rose getting the completion there for the Stevens Point Pointers. (12-3) the score. Platteville leads Stevens Point. 11:57 to go here in the first half of play from Ralph E. Davis Stadium. Todd Alba along with Jim Mead. Glad to be with you on this wet, overcast Saturday afternoon. That was kind of a hop, skip, and a pass jump, Jim.
Robert Reed with the, how do I want to, who did he remind you of in the NFL? Who does that? It's not a Barry Sanders run.
No, I'm not sure either.
be a Walter Payton.
That's a good.
kind
That's
of run.
a good analogy, I think. They bring the chain gang in to see exactly how close we are to a first down here for the Stevens Point Pointers, and they get it. Very close, but they get it. Good by inches. That's all it takes. What's the old cliche? Football's a game of inches, and indeed it was here for the Stevens Point Pointers. It'll be 1st and 10 for Stevens Point from their own 48-yard line or thereabouts. A long pass for Stevens Point and a little bit overthrown, but good coverage by Platteville. Give them credit. Number 45 and number 42 for Pioneers.
Well, Phil Spendy was the initial man who was covering that play, and it was an overthrown ball anyway. No one could have gotten to it, but still great coverage by Spendy.
Roger Howery, the quarterback for the Stevens Point Pointers, looking to lead his team down and at least get one more touchdown here before halftime. Get a little bit closer, and Platteville, of course, hoping to stop that. Roger Howery, once again, back to pass for the Stevens Point Pointers. Had a lot of time, but then felt some pressure, almost tripped up, and now he is driven out of bounds by the Platteville defense.
Mike Vanoy is the man who pushed him out of bounds. A gain of only, I'd say, 3 on the play.
And again, Jim, the Pioneer defense coming through in a 3rd down situation.
Well, he didn't even gain that. Only a yard on that play.
It'll be 3rd and 9 to go as the Pioneer defense once again lines up to shut down the offense of Stevens Point. Roger Hoyer to call the plays once again for Stevens Point. And he looks for another pass pattern. It's been a passing game on this wet afternoon. A long pass up the sidelines, and it's caught. It is caught, and was he in bounds or not?
It looks like they're going to mark him down there inside the 15-yard line. A great catch by Dean Bryan. Who made the great catch down at the opposite side of the field once before that got the Pointers their first score in the game, the field goal. And again, a great catch by Bryan.
It really was, and we've seen some exciting football here this afternoon, Jim. You might expect almost, no football game is boring, but there are more exciting ones than others, and usually the running games are not the exciting ones, but we've seen a lot of passing here, as we commented earlier.
Very impressive,
it really is.
Considering the wet conditions.
That's right. Roger Hoyer once again set to pass for the Stevens Point Pointers. Well, we don't want to assume he's passing, but he will. He's set to call the plays, and he passes into the end zone, overthrown, intended for number 1.
That is, again, Bryan, who made the catch previously, but that one a little bit out of his reach. Would have been out of reach for anyone.
Yeah. Maybe Magic Johnson could have brought that ball down, but I don't think he'd do too well in football. Magic Johnson, of course, part of that Olympic basketball team. What do you think of that, Jim? What do you think of bringing the professionals?
I've got mixed feelings, really. I think the Olympics is one of those things that amateur athletes should take pride in.
I have to agree.
But still,
a short gain for the Stevens Point Pointers.
I'm all for the NBA going into the Olympics. You know, you want a championship team. You want to see the best in the states play. But
I just have the same feelings. I really think that amateur athletes is the place. I think you have people like Nadia Comaneci coming out of the Olympics, and Eddie the Eagle, of course, the Winter Olympics. People just have a dream at least, or love the sport of athletics. Not to say professionals don't, but I think the fact is they don't get paid for the amateurs. I think that's what the Olympics were really meant to be. But that's our humble opinion, I guess, and each to his own. Platteville defense have certainly held their own here this afternoon as they have kept the Stevens Point Pointers to only a field goal. And once again, the defense coming through for the Platteville on a 3rd down play. And once again, it will step the 4th down. Will they go for it?
Hardy ran it on his own, and Len Hur was there. He led the Pioneers on that tackle. There was about 3 Pioneers who were on top of Harry on that time, and as a result, it'll be a field goal by number 9. That is Dave Schneider, and he's already nailed one already. Looks like this one's going to be about 28 yards, 27 yards.
Looks right to me. The kick is up, and it is good.
Snyder 2 for 2, and as a result, now it's 12-6 with 9:15 left to play until the first half.
So certainly anything can happen. Platteville, of course, will be looking to come back and score, but if they don't, always the opportunity to have things tied up at halftime for Stevens Point, and of course that is something we do not want to happen. We would like to see the Pointers go into the locker room behind with the Pioneers on top. Right now they do lead it, as Jim said, 12-6. 9:15 left to go in the first half play here from Ralph E. Davis Stadium. The rains have stopped. As I put my hand out a little bit here, I have a glove on, but the rains have stopped. The winds, though, as we look over at our flags, seem to be constant. And that is something, Jim, the kickers have to be concerned about.
Oh, the wind I don't think is that strong. We're not feeling too much of a breeze here at all, so I don't know how much the wind has a factor on this game. I don't think any, if any at all.
And Todd Bassini will be kicking off for the Stevens Point Pointers. Number 22, D. Phillips in the backfield. And he indeed gets the ball for the Platteville Pioneers as he runs up the far sideline for a gain.
They're going to mark it inside the 30, or between the 35 and 40-yard line. We'll call it about the 38. And again, a good run by Lee Phillips. Pioneers start in decent territory on their own 30, looks like their own 39.
Sounds good, as Eric Wixom once again calling out the play action for the Stevens, I should say for the Platteville Pioneers, as he hands off to number 33, Rob Del Santo, up the far sideline.
Looks like Steger was the man on that
yes, Steger. I get my numbers confused. Tom Steger carrying the ball, and Tom Steger has been the hero, at least thus far here in the game for Platteville, getting both touchdowns. 9:04 left to go in the first half of action here from Ralph E. Davis Stadium. 12-6, Platteville leads Stevens Point. Eric Wixom looking to pick things up even more. It's a long pass down the sidelines, and it is caught. It is caught by number 33.
Tom Steger, great catch.
Again.
He was double teamed, and it looked like number 42 for the Pointers. That is, that's that name. Remember that name? I can never pronounce. We're going to say 42 for the rest of the day.
Okay.
It's settled. But anyway, Steger double teamed, and it looked like they had both caught at the same time, but Steger pulled the ball out, and he got an additional 5 or 6 yards before he was brought down, and the Pioneers again driving middle of the second quarter here.
How Tom Steger stayed on his feet. He was running backwards, Jim, while he pulled the ball from the and he goes in, and now a touchdown for Platteville. Rob Del Santo, number 31, gets the nod from the Platteville side, and indeed the Pioneers have gone even farther ahead of their attempts to win here this afternoon. 18-6, Platteville leads Stevens Point.
18-yard run for Del Santo on the first play following the Steger catch, and didn't it seem like the Pioneers lined up awful quick?
They did, because I was talking to you. I looked over and I see Rob Del Santo running into the end zone.
Maybe that's why the score was so easy. They caught the Pointers off guard as well.
I think so. Now they will go for the extra point. Will the Pioneer football team, and Rob Del Santo actually going for the 2-point conversion. He looked to hand off, and it's good. It is good, Jim.
Eric Wixom to it looks like, is that Jake's?
I believe so. Eric Wixom to Jakes, and just barely could over the field goal, over the goal line there, but we'll take it. It is 20-6. Your Platteville Pioneers lead the Pointers of Stevens Point. 8:38 left to go in play action here the first half on this Saturday afternoon. Well,
go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Okay. Well, I was just going to, while we have some time, getting back to the WIAA since they're starting their playoffs, and you seem pretty happy about Richland Center. I looked in the paper, and I forgot who they played. Do you remember who they play in the first round?
They play, that's down at Sauk Prairie.
Yeah.
DeForest. Thank you.
DeForest.
My stepdad sitting down below us, Fran Buhmeyer, and he said it's DeForest who they play.
Okay. Anyway, we have to mention that the Platteville Hillmen are also going to the WIA playoffs.
Right. That's right. They are. Congratulations to the Platteville coaching staff here at Platteville High School and the players as well. The Hornets, the conference champions, but of course, that new rule a couple of years back, Jim, puts the top 2 teams in each conference in the playoffs, and Platteville is that other team. And here come the Pointers with a charge right down the middle. And, of course, that was a big game last Friday, Jim, for Richland Center because, and also for River Valley, another Spring Green, of course, our viewing area. And because if they had won that game, of course, they would have gone into the playoffs. And if Platteville would have lost, they could have gotten there as well. But with Platteville beating Cuba City down at Cuba City, that put Richland Center and Platteville into the playoffs from the SWAL Division 1. And, of course, it will be Mineral Point undefeated in the SWAL Division 2. And Darlington, the Redbirds, also going into the playoffs. That starts on Tuesday, and you can see all the results. I'll have it for you on TV5 News live at 5 along with Jeff Perry. We'll have the sports action for you. But right now we have sports action here at Ralph E. Davis Stadium and almost picked off, Jim.
Lee Phillips almost made the interception. I am surprised. There are people on the Pointer side here complaining about a flag. It looked like Lee might have bumped the intended receiver, Barry Rose, but no flag. And as a result, give credit to Lee Phillips.
That's right. That's right. We will take whatever we can get here this afternoon. So it will be 2nd and 10 for the Stevens Point Pointers, trailing right now the Platteville Pioneers 20-6. Platteville has done an outstanding job getting the big plays off and getting ahead early. And again, the defense chiming in. And it looks here, Jim, on the near side, number 42 for the Stevens Point Pointers have a little bit of ankle trouble, or it appears they had to escort him off the field there a few plays back.
Number 42. The hard name.
Oh, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have brought that up. Just when you looked at me, you gave me that look like, why did you bring that up? Now I realize. And a completed pass to number 91 of Stevens Point. Jim will look the name up for us.
Okay, number 91, Scott Zwizershitz.
Zwizershitz. And
Zwizershitz.
And that is how you pronounce it, my friends. I worked at WRCO Radio Richland Center for 4 years. And I'm not sure if he's the same one that wrestled in high school, but at least he had a relative. And we had a very tough time saying that name because a lot of people kind of looked at it as funny. And but that is his name, is Wizershitz. And that's how it's pronounced. So we will pronounce it the way he wants it pronounced.
Nothing we can do.
That's right. It's a 1st and 10 play for the Stevens Point Pointers. They pick up, well, about maybe 4 or 5 yards on that, maybe more. It'll be 2nd and 4. So really, Jim, Stevens Point making some noise down here at the end of the first half. 6:50 left to go. Definitely more than enough time to run down and get another score on the Pioneers. But pressured and nicely done by number 90 of Platteville on the defensive side there.
Mike Vanoy almost with the sack, but the Harry throw the ball away just in time as it was incomplete anyway. Not a very good throw. One of those that he just threw to avoid the sack.
Right. Roger Harry probably would have been called for maybe in the grass or something if that would have been the NFL.
Yeah.
It is 3rd down and 4 yards to go for the Stevens Point Pointers.
20-0. The Badgers were ahead of Indiana, we heard a couple of minutes ago.
I didn't catch that. Wonderful. What a homecoming. And it's a pitch off to the far side to number 6, I believe.
Robert Reed, I believe, is
Yes.
the ball carrier there.
That is
Only
correct.
gained about 3 yards on the play. It was a great tackle. I didn't see who the Pioneer was that made the tackle. But some cheers from the Pointer section here. They got enough for the first down. As a result, it'll be 1st and 10 on about the 32-yard line.
So Platteville will look to tighten their defensive belts a little bit here and hold off the Stevens Point Pointers.
This is where you're going to see the defense kick in right here.
Because really now, if you let them get much farther, Jim, you're going to be at field goal range. Hauer, a long pass over the middle and incomplete.
Bryant, number 1, the intended receiver, overthrown. Randy Kleinhans was the closest man on the coverage for the Pioneers, and it was even overthrown to him. So no way that ball could have been caught. Another Magic Johnson reception.
That's true. So it will be 2nd and 10. As Roger Hauer sets up his team, looking to march down. Platteville trying to stop. 6:09 left to go in the first half of play. Platteville leads 20-6. Hauer looking to pass, has time, but now it's pressure by Platteville, and he's far in the backfield, and he just does get it off. And now, does there an interception? No.
Think it's incomplete. Broken
Incomplete.
up by, looks like Lee Phillips. It was intended for Brian, and Phillips had broken it up.
And give credit, Jim, to number 77 of Platteville, that being, of course, Jeff Cuter. Jeff Cuter. Wonderful pressure there on Hauer in the backfield. Nearly a sack. So you are certainly correct, Jim, and say that Platteville tightens up the defense. 3rd down, 10 yards to go. 6 minutes even left to go in the first half of play. Hauer sets up his team. And it's now passed far down the field to number 1 once again, and now he goes in. He looks like it will be, and it is. It is a touchdown.
Great catch by Dean Bryan, and he broke a couple tackles, sailed into the end zone. As a result, Stevens Point is on their board for their first touchdown of the game, that one being about 30 yards. And the reception from Bryan to Hari now makes the game 20-12. Platteville still ahead, and Point with Schneider, the kick coming up.
Hauer came out of the shotgun formation that time, and once again it seems as though the defense of Platteville was fooled a little bit there. As the play just went off, I saw the Platteville coaches motioning for the defense to get deeper, so possibly the coaches saw that play coming. In any case, as Jim said, Stevens Point on the board, their first touchdown, and the extra field goal, I should say the extra point is blocked, and now the Pioneers running up the sidelines. Number 45 with the blocked extra point attempt, got the blocked extra point attempt.
It was blocked. Randy Kleinhans, number 45, picked up the ball, ran it out, got about as far as the 35-yard line before. I don't know if he actually was out of bounds, a little bit far for us. But either way, he was brought down. The kick is blocked. It's still 20-12, and the Pioneers will get the ball. Still plenty of time. 5:52 remaining until the first half is completed. Certainly enough time for the Pioneers to maybe get another score.
Is. Interesting that play would come up, Jim, because I was watching the Iowa game just before I came over to the stadium here. They had a you make the call play, and they said on that play in college football, if the punt is blocked and the defense runs it down for a score, how many points is it?
I am not familiar with those rules since I've never ever seen it in my life happen. I'd assume 1.
I thought it would be 6. I thought it would be a regular touchdown, but it wasn't. It was 2. It was 2, just like a safety. I thought that was interesting, and we almost had at least we had the setup for the same play here this afternoon.
Well, how many plays like that have you ever seen?
That's the first time. That's why I say how ironic that I saw it on television just before I came over to the stadium this afternoon.
Well, that helped us
That's
describe
right.
what happened as far as point total. Otherwise, we would have looked silly.
We probably look silly in our parkas out here anyway. In any case, the Platteville Pioneers do not look silly. They are doing an outstanding job this afternoon as they lead this contest 20-12. But right now, the Stevens Point fans have something to cheer about because their defense had a nice hit in the backfield back here.
Rob Howe back to receive that kick and got about 10 yards before he was nailed. And the Pioneers will start at their own 23-yard line, 1st and 10, with 5:46 left to play in this first half.
Eric Wixom once again preparing to set up his team to take them down the field. As he hands off now for a short gainer. We'll wait to see who it was.
Dave Fisher, number 46, carried it about 6 yards, 7 yards.
Second down, 5 yards to go for the Platteville Pioneers. Is now number 54. It limps off for Platteville.
That's Pfister, Jim Pfister, the center.
Jim Pfister. So apparently he got in there and took a hit. Doesn't he have a Pfister Faucet Company, or is that somebody else? I'm not sure. I thought he owned Pfister Faucets, but in any case, once again, Wixom in the setting of the pass is long over, and it's completed. Yes, it is.
Russ Jakes, nice catch.
Russ Jakes. Russ Jakes. I wonder if he's Russ Jakes Jr. Is his dad the offensive coordinator for the Badgers, or is that a different Russ Jakes?
I couldn't tell you that either. You're throwing some hard questions at me in the last couple minutes here.
I'm just taking things off the top of my head here, and I just kidding you. Russ Jakes, of course, one of them is the offensive coordinator for the Badgers, who, as you said, lead Indiana 20-0. We hope the Badgers do well as we do the Platteville Pioneers as well. But right now, they get stopped short of the first down.
Rob Del Santo on the carry, again stuffed after getting the ball gained about 2 yards on the play, it looks like. 2nd and 8.
And I think I can take my umbrella down for the moment. At least it looks like it's cleared up a little bit here.
Well, if the wind picks up, we'll put it back up
okay.
As a windbreaker.
That's true. My arm fell asleep there. I feel like I have a stiff arm.
Yeah,
anyway.
Thanks, by the way, for letting me share the umbrella.
No problem. Anytime, my friend. Right now, as it's a long pass down.
No flag.
No, that was surprising.
I thought for sure Jakes was just thrown to the ground before the ball even got there. Surprisingly, no flags.
Platteville tries for the long pass once again from Wixom to Jakes, but to no avail. As Jim said, Jakes harassed down there.
Didn't it look like he was hit and knocked down before the ball got there?
But at least I guess maybe we're even on that because we got away with one, and they give Stevens Point one back as well now. As it will be second down, 8 yards to go, 4 minutes, 20 seconds left in the first half of play. Platteville, the Pioneers, lead Stevens Point 20-12. As the Pioneers huddle up and get the play clear as to where they want to go, it will be second down, as we said, 4 yards to go. Ball resting on the 46-yard line of the Pioneers' home territory. Eric Wixom once again back as he hands off. Actually, he will keep the ball and now prepares a pass pattern, and he is hit. And what an onslaught by number 16 there of the Pointer organization, Rob Haar. Really came in and gave it to Eric Wixom there.
He forced Wixom to throw a bad pass, and it was intended for Dan Rundy. If that ball was a little higher, a great play, because Rundy had some running room. But unfortunately, the ball just thrown in the dirt.
Yeah. So it will be third down, 4 yards to go. Platteville proved they can come through in the clutch. They had a big fourth down play for a touchdown earlier in the game. Will this third down play be equally as exciting? We wait and see. Eric Wixom waiting on his team to be prepared as he calls out the shots as he hands off now, and really no gain. And I think maybe there's some confusion down on the field on that play, Jim.
Looks like Rob Howe.
Rob Howe, I believe, was the ball carrier. Well, when Eric Wixom got up, he put his hands out to say, what happened?
I think it was Dave Nelson, number 34, that carried the ball for the Pioneers.
All right.
His first carry of the day is a loss of a yard, and Brian Cohn is going to have to punt now from the Pioneers' own 30-yard line.
Fourth down. for Platteville. And they get the punt off and a flag on the play. We'll wait and see exactly what it is as the ball rolls. And it's finally stopped. Down near the, well, about the 12-yard line there.
See what the flag is here.
The Zebras meet at the middle of the field. I mean the referees. We affectionately call them that, of course. The officiating crew doing a good job here this afternoon. As the hankies were pulled, the referees confer, and the call is made, and it will be against Platteville.
You're going to make them punt it again, maybe?
I think that looks like a possibility. Holding on the Pioneers is the call. And so it will be a redo or a do-over, whichever you prefer for the Pioneer football team. They'll punt farther back as they get the punt off. Oh, no, it's blocked. At this time it is blocked, and now it is a live ball, and Platteville recovers, I believe.
Eric Wynn made the recovery, and the punt was blocked. I didn't see who blocked it for the Pointers, but needless to say, the Pioneers will have to play the defense like they always do, tough, hold the Pointers, because right now, great field position, the best start for the Pointers.
That's certainly true.
On their own 32-yard line, it looks like.
So now with 3 minutes and 11 seconds coming into play, time not quite yet a factor, but if Platteville wants to make another score, they certainly will have to worry about that. But right now, as you said, Jim, the main thing is they have to hold them here. Roger Howier throwing the long pass over the middle and, well, incomplete, short actually.
Phil Spendy was on the coverage there. I wish he would have looked behind him about a second or two early, maybe a picked off pass, because it was a duck that was thrown way short, and Spendy was the best one, that had the best chance at making that play. Unfortunately, he was watching his man, not the ball, and couldn't make the play until it was already dead.
Second down, 10 yards to go. Platteville leads the Stevens Point Pointers 20-12. As a long pass by Howier once again down the sidelines, no good. As it was caught, give credit to the receiver down there of the Pointers, but number one once again.
Dean Bryan with the catch. He was out of bounds with the reception there.
So it will be a third down play. So, Jim, the defense of Platteville coming through. Well, Indiana's gotten on the board here.
With Wisconsin still pulling the upset, 20-7 they lead. Northwestern was upsetting Illinois also, 14-3.
And that would be an upset, Jim. Illinois ranked in the top 25 college football poll. Howier getting the pass off, but just as he is also hit by number 50 there of Platteville. A good job pressuring at least.
Mark Lenher just a second away from getting a sack. Harry let it fly just before he was nailed, and he was hit hard.
He was.
As he released the ball.
Platteville's done the job. They have a fourth down now, and Platteville, I should say, Stevens Point is going to be forced to punt, and still the defense comes through once again for the Pioneers. 2 minutes, 54 seconds left to play in the first half as Platteville will prepare to march the ball down the field and try to get a score, another score on the board before halftime rolls around. Number 22.
Lee Phillips.
Lee Phillips, thank you, as my memory slips. In the backfield, ready to receive for the Pioneers. And it will be a delay of game against the Stevens Point Pointers.
We saw this strategy at Stout last week. Stout did the same thing. They made a delay of game call against themselves so they can have more room to punt. Right now, the area a little small, you know, very easy to punt in the end zone right now. If you go 5 yards deeper, the kick gives a little more room for the ball to fall.
Well, we'll see if the strategy works. Now number 24, Eric Wynn, also in the backfield, ready to receive as Platteville changes their strategy a little bit too. Phillips there as well still. As they prepare to punt off, I should say, yes indeed, they prepare to punt off. And it's a high punt over the head, and now he does get it off. What an amazing job for Stevens Point, and now it is taken out of the hands. What a tackle and a ruckus. They're going to raise a ruckus down there near the end zone, but in the end, Platteville finally does get the ball, Jim.
First of all, the center snap was over the head of the punter. That is, the punter for the defense is number 42, my hero. And over his head, he just got the ball away. Figi almost blocked it. Eric Wynn was the man that actually made the call or the reception on the punt. He fumbled it. Lee Phillips very alertly made the fumble recovery. Otherwise, the Pointers would have the ball in great territory. So heads-up play by Lee Phillips.
Yep, I agree. In any case, Platteville does finally get the first play off here in this possession, and they pick up about 8 yards. It'll be second down and 2 yards to go here for the Platteville Pioneers. Ball resting on the 8-yard line of their own territory. 2 minutes, 15 seconds left to play in the first half. 20-12. Platteville leads. Stevens Point looking to increase that lead before they head to the locker room at halftime. Wixom hands off, and it will go nowhere.
I don't think he got enough for the first. He might be a yard short yet if he gained anything at all.
Rob Del Santo on the carry for Platteville. And it'll be third down, 2 yards to go, and the Platteville offense will once again look, for a big play on the third and fourth down. And it's a fumble, and Stevens Point has recovered, Jim.
No word from the officials yet. We'll see. And they're going to give it to the Pioneers.
Give it to the Pioneers. Excuse me for calling the play there a little early. Maybe I was watching the players instead of the officials there.
The players and the fans were all jumping the gun a little bit here. No word from the officials yet, and indeed the Pioneers have recovered the ball.
And the old saying is, if you jump the gun, you're going to get shot, or something like that. So anyway, the Platteville Pioneers keep the ball. It will be first down and 10. Ball resting on the 20-yard line of Platteville.
Well, Eric Wixom calls the timeout. There's 1:08, and in your personal opinion, Todd, you're ahead 20-12. You've got about 75, 80 yards to go for a score. Do you run out the clock and take the lead at halftime, or you go for the long play?
No, I think you run out the clock at halftime. I think in a game like this, especially with weather conditions like this, it's getting a little bit colder out here, at least I feel like it, and I think you have to go in with the halftime lead and have the momentum coming back out in the second half, because if you risk the long play, of course, you risk what almost happened right there with the interception, with the fumble, and that can really turn the tide and the momentum going into the second half and give Stevens Point something to cheer about.
At Platteville 2 for 2 in fumble recoveries of their own fumbles in this series. Of course, the punt return almost turned to be a tragedy for the Pioneers. The ball carried this last play on the drive, fumbled again. Unfortunately, the Pioneers recovered it. Otherwise, the Pointers have an easy score. It's at least a field goal here.
Right, exactly.
So I think it's smart if you just let the clock run down where you're at right now, and you don't want to punt it back to them, I don't think,
That's
because
right.
They're going to get the ball in great field position.
They certainly are. Well, we will see if they take Jim and I's advice or whether they go on their own, being the Platteville coaching staff and the players as well. Eric Wixom set to go first and 10, ball on the 20 of Platteville. And Wixom has a pass called, at least. He will try to run it out, and again he throws on the pass, and it was intended
as Rod Johnson, number 89.
Rod Johnson, 89, and they didn't go for our advice there, Jim.
Well, that was a good play, though, because Rod had his men burnt. He was double-teamed, just a little overthrown.
And it certainly would have been a big play. He would have been gone if he would have caught it, I think.
It would have made us look even more foolish.
That's right. And we don't need any help with that, I don't think. We can handle that well on our own. And even 60 seconds to go here in this contest at Ralph E. Davis Stadium. The Platteville Pioneers leading the Stevens Point Pointers by a score of 20-12. Second down, 10 yards to go. Ball once again on the 20 as Eric Wixom hands off up on the far side. And a gain of maybe 3 on the play. Rob Del Santo getting the call for the ball carrier.
And it looks like the Pioneers may let the clock run out. They have 2 timeouts remaining. And
we'll see what they choose
have a whistle.
to do.
Nope, they're going to keep the clock running, so maybe they will just let it run out.
A score just passed along from the WSUC. Whitewater leading Eau Claire 20-0. Jim, not really a big surprise there.
Whitewater was supposed to be one of the dominating teams in this conference. They suffered a couple of losses. They lost to St. Ambrose. Certainly a disappointing team this year, but still a good team in general.
Indeed, Jim, and now a good run there towards the end of the contest by number 31 for the Pioneers, that being, of course, Rob Del Santo. As 1 second is left on the clock, and he had a good opportunity there to pick up some yards. He did just that. The Pioneers, will they take one more play?
They're going to call a timeout. They want one more play. I think they were just going to try to run the clock out, but Del Santo got some good yardage. I think they're going to try for one more. And I guess I would too. Now that they're at the 50-yard line, it's a big difference from back at the 20.
Right.
So.
And the Platteville Marching Band lines up across the way. As we see a couple of sousaphones rising out of the orange and blue, and the feather plumes over there on the far sidelines. As the Parents' Day crowd here on a chilly Saturday afternoon is prepared for a nice halftime show. Also, the seniors will be introduced here this afternoon as well on Parents' Day. 1 second left to go, almost halftime here. Thank you for joining us from Ralph E. Davis Stadium. Platteville leads 20-12, and they will try to make it a little bit wider margin going into the locker room. Eric Wixom has the play. He backs up for the long pass, and no good.
He's going to go down for his 3rd sack. Not bad.
Not bad.
We'll take the 20-12 halftime lead.
And that is where things end at halftime. Right now it is 20-12 as Platteville leads Stevens Point. Well, here we are at halftime once again, and Jim, it's always good to be out here on a Saturday afternoon. And even though it is chilly, the rains have stopped at least, and we're glad to be with you here at halftime, as we said.
Well, still, this weather is a lot better than it was last week. I think the Pioneers think so also. They're ahead 20-12 at Ralph E. Davis Pioneer Stadium, a place where they always play very well. And as they're showing us right now, defeating Stevens Point, a team that does have a better record, but Platteville always plays tough at home, and they surprise you against these teams.
That's right.
Oshkosh was undefeated before they came into Ralph E. Davis Pioneer Stadium. Platteville held on, defeated Oshkosh in front of Student Appreciation Night. And right now, Platteville leads 20-12 over Stevens Point.
Sounds good. As we wrap things up here at halftime, it is Platteville 20, Stevens Point 12, and we will be back with the second half of action after this.
Custody because you've never been in trouble before.
Don't let them do this to me, Mom. Promise you'll take care of me.
You understand?
ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the second half of play as we have the kickoff underway as Platteville leads 20-12 over Stevens Point. The kickoff is just underway, Jim Mead, and nice to be back with you here in the second half of play.
Well, nice to be back the second half. We warmed up a little bit.
That's right.
At the halftime, so we're all ready to start fresh again for the second half. Platteville ahead 20-12, and if I could very quickly give us the statistics.
Sure.
Unofficial, of course, Eric Wixom in the first half was 8 for 16, 161 yards passing. Roger Hari, the quarterback for Point, 5 of 16, 130 yards, 1 touchdown.
Sounds good. As we said, Platteville leads this contest 20-12 over UW Stevens Point here at the opening moments of half number 2. Stevens Point right now preparing to get things together. Well, Lacrosse has defeated Oshkosh, Jim, in WSUC play 14-6, and well, Lacrosse right now number 1 in the conference, but Oshkosh, as we found out down here, has a good team as well.
Right. They played the Pioneers that student appreciation night, and at that time, Oshkosh was undefeated. Pioneers gave them their first WSUC loss of the season. Oshkosh finishing in the middle of the pack at this point. They have, I believe, 1 or 2 more games yet in the season. So they're in the middle of the pack, just like the Pioneers are right now. But Lacrosse, as we mentioned, atop the WSUC, doesn't look like anyone's going to be able to touch them this year.
Well, that certainly is the case. As we said, Lacrosse defeats Oshkosh 14-6 this afternoon. As right now, it's a pass across the middle for UW Stevens Point as they pick up a first down. And as by the looks of the jersey, it looks like a new quarterback for UW Stevens Point here in the second half. Jim, that would be Rip Flippo. Rip Flippo now at quarterback, number 11 for UW Stevens Point.
I don't see Hari at the, there he is, down at the sideline, but he's giving the signals right now on the sidelines there. No explanation that I've heard why he has been benched at this point.
He had a couple of hard hits by Platteville defense, but that really never seemed to slow him down when we saw him in the first half. Maybe the Platteville coaching staff just wanting to make a change, and looks like it has worked thus far. As another nice handoff over there to number 34, Jim Henderson, as he picks up close to a first down, Jim.
Well, Rip Flippo is our man, I guess, for the second half for Point.
They have Flippo-flopped quarterbacks here in the second half.
Oh, my goodness.
That's getting bad out here. Actually, it's clearing up as we look off here. Over here, the skies are lightening up, and maybe not the rain that was anticipated here. In case you weren't with us earlier, UW-Madison, the Badgers, leading Indiana right now. And the latest score we had, Jim, you went over and got the score for us at halftime.
It was at the end of the third quarter at that time. Wisconsin still hanging on, 20-14 lead. Indiana scored twice in that third quarter, and as a result, 20-14. They were heading to the fourth. Badgers lead.
We hope and wish them well. Right now, the Platteville defense doing well here at Ralph E. Davis Stadium as they blocked a passing pattern. And Rip Flippo will set up and try to make things happen for Stevens Point on the third down play. Third down and 3 yards to go. Ball resting even on the halfway century mark at the 50-yard line. Flippo passing over, and it's an interception, and he could go all the way, and he's going down, and it's a touchdown for UW Platteville.
Take a guess who that is, number 51, Bruce Fege.
Number 52, Bruce Fege, the NCAA Division III National Player of the Week last week, and he does it again today, Jim.
A 50-yard interception run by Bruce Fege. As a result, Platteville on the board, 26-12. Third touchdown, unless I'm mistaken, for Fege of the year on defense.
Well, he certainly got 2 in that game a couple of weeks ago, so you would be correct. The third touchdown on defense, and an outstanding job by Fege. And Platteville leads this contest 26-12. They get on the board in the opening moments of half number 2. They go for the extra point, and it's up, and the point itself was good, but Jim, there's a penalty flag on the play. We'll wait and see what happened. The point itself was through the uprights, but actually, Jim, I watched, and the flag was thrown even before the punt itself. And it looks like the penalty will be against Platteville.
Well, that's too bad. The kick was good. Unfortunately, it's not going to count, and that's the only kick we've seen by Platteville as far as field goals, extra points. That's unfortunate.
So I'll have to do it again. As they set things up, 5 yards in back of where they were.
I want to add Eric Wixom is the kicking the extra points for the Pioneers right now.
Very true. So he's trying to do it all here, at least this afternoon for the Platteville Pioneers. Wixom, and once again, a bad kick, but another penalty flag was the first thing we saw. And what was the call this time? We'll wait and see from the officials. The officials are...
It's going to be against Platteville, I believe, because they are going to signal the kick is no good.
Right.
Off to the left.
And, of course, with that, the Pointers will decline the penalty because, as Jim said, the kick was no good. But Eric Wixom getting a couple of nice kicks off at least. They looked good. The first one was good if it wouldn't have been for the penalty. And in any case, that's how that scoring pattern ends. But a positive ending at that. 26 points for Platteville, 12 for Stevens Point. And the Pioneers getting the job done here early in the second half. Once again, we look for the kickoff this afternoon. That from number 9, Eric Saharsky for the Pioneers, and the Pointers will be prepared to receive. As Jim puts on his neon orange deer hunting gloves here.
These are a Jack O'Neill special.
Are they really?
He let me borrow these because...
Well, I saw him dressed out here in his traditional, he looked like a deer hunting priest or something in his long neon orange robe. But he's warm and we're not, so we can't laugh.
Well, my hands are a lot warmer now thanks to Jack, so...
Oh, we'll say thanks to him. Saharsky kicks off, and it's a good kick, a nice kick, and a nice pickup though too by number 6. For the Pointers.
Robert Reed on the kickoff return for the Pointers. Platteville stops them at about the 31-yard line, and that's where the Pointers will have it first down and 10.
And Reed has gotten a couple of nice returns, Jim, this afternoon for the for the Pointers.
Well, aside from number 1, who's Brian, he has caught a couple of big passes. He had the touchdown reception. Reed has been the man.
So the Stevens Point Pointers mount up again to charge down the field. Ball resting at their own 31-yard line, first and 10. Flippo keeps the ball himself, I believe, wasn't it, Jim?
Yep, he took that himself, only gained about a yard, though. He was stacked up by a load of Platteville Pioneers, led by Jeff Cuter.
So once again, the Platteville defense shining tonight, this afternoon. 12 minutes, 18 seconds left to go in the third quarter. Second down and 10 yards to go. No gain really on that first play, maybe about 6 inches, but not quite the full yard. Flippo passes over to the far side and slips up there, but received anyway. And I didn't catch the number.
I haven't either.
We'll wait to see who gets up out of the muddied mess. And
that's the only bad part about their
34.
White jerseys. When they get dirty, you can't
Indeed.
see anything.
34 was the man over there on the far side.
That's Jim Henderson with the pickup, and the reception gives the Pointers first down and 10 at their own 41-yard line.
So we're moving up closer to the 50-yard line. Are the Pointers from Stevens Point. Filippo preparing once again to lead his team in the play call action. And now there's a fumble, and Filippo recovers for himself. But what it looked like was a Dom Makowski play of a couple weeks back, Jim. The ball just hit him in the numbers and bounced right off. And Filippo doing well to recover that play himself.
Well, I don't want to get into this. Don't compare these teams to the Packers or anyone because
that is crude, isn't it? That's too crude. I'm sorry.
I don't want to rip on the Packers because, you know, This is a Packer state, and we're all Packer backers,
And I am.
realistically.
I am
but
to the
you just,
end.
you know, if you rip on them, the wrong people hear it, then we hear about it. So
That's
don't
right.
even
All
compare
right, we won't compare
anything to the Packers.
Don't worry about the Packers. We just wish them the best of luck against Tampa Bay this week. We hope they do well. And we hope the Pioneers do well. Right now, they're trying to shut down Flippo and the Stevens Point Pointers, but to no avail as number 34. Once again, it's Jim Henderson bringing the ball down the field, at least getting back to the original line of scrimmage and a little bit more for the Pointers of, of Stevens Point.
Well, unlike Dean Bryan, who is their wide receiver, he's the one that runs the deep patterns. Henderson is running the shorter patterns across the middle, and Flippo's main receiver has been Henderson. Those short passes have been working. We didn't see Henderson too much at all in the first half. It was more the Harry to Bryan passes deep in the down the field. Right now, Pointers playing a little bit more conservative, going with the shorter passes. Right now, it's working. Henderson has caught 2 in a row.
And Flippo tries once again, and he passes over to the far side there.
It looks like it was Henderson again.
Henderson again, and it receives well. So, as you said, the short passes seem to be working well this time around, but it was a 3rd down play. Now it's 4th down, and they'll be forced to bring on the punters, the punting team, as it were. Fourth down, 4 yards to go, but as we said, the punter, they are in punt formation, and the punter is on the field for the Stevens Point Pointers, and it looks as if, though, that indeed will be the case. Number 22, Lee Phillips, back to receive for the Platteville Pioneers, and the punt is up, and it's good, and it will be picked up by Phillips as he brings it down the far sideline, but not very far, only a couple of feet, as the Pointer defense manages to trip him up down there at about the 22-yard line. And that is where they will start, the Pioneers, from their 23, 1st and 10. And Jim, as we look at the field right now, as they've kind of cleared out, the midfield at least looks a little bit greasy in spots.
Yeah.
That could become a factor as we approach the second half here.
Well, already I'm impressed with the way the Pioneers are playing. It's been wet and, as you termed it, greasy all over the field, and still the Pioneers are scoring. I really don't think that they're letting it bother them at all. I mean, this is
Right.
This is your land anyway. You're playing for your home crew. I don't think they're even worried about the field at this point.
Maybe they're enjoying it a little bit. Football field weather, at least. 8:56 left to go in the 3rd quarter of play here at Ralph E. Davis Stadium. Todd Allball along with Jim Mead. Glad to be along with you here on a Saturday afternoon. As Wixom passes off for a little short running pattern. Rob Del Santo once again carrying the ball. We've heard his name a lot, and he's been effective on the short carries.
One of the team leaders, Rob Del Santo, unfortunately, not having one of his average 80-plus yard games. The Pointers have pegged his number on the run, but he has made a few good plays in the first half on the pass. So look for Del Santo to be running more patterns possibly today.
Wixom once again looking for a pass pattern as he is back and he is on the run, and he gets away from the pressure of Stevens Point. He gets the pass off. Really no Pioneer in the area, almost a dangerous pass of sorts. But once again, Jim, you have to be impressed with the playing ability of Eric Wixom this afternoon, the way he can get that pass off on the run.
Well, he avoided another sack, which is something the Pioneers had problems with last week against Stout. As we mentioned, Eric Wixom was sacked 8 times last week against Stout. He had a man wide open at the 50, and that was Joe Obenader. Unfortunately, he didn't see him. It was too late. That pass was intended for Dan Rundy and a little short. Like you said, almost picked off. As a result, it's 4th down.
And the punt is away this time. A nice punt, and this time good for a little gain there on the punt return. About, maybe 8 yards or so on the return after the initial pickup pattern. And there it will be on about the 48-yard line, or 40, make it 46, I guess, probably, of the Pointer team, as they'll prepare to march it downfield. 26-12 the score. If you've just joined us, Platteville has come out early here in the second half. He went to the fridge to get something to drink and came back and said, what happened? Well, this is what happened. Once again, Bruce Fiji, the NCAA Division III Player of the Week on defense last week, came through again and got a play interception and came through, went all the way on the touchdown to make it 26-12. The extra point attempt by
Eric Wixom was the kicker that time.
Eric Wixom, and it was the first one was good. There was a penalty on the play that nullified it, and his second kick was no good. And there we stand, my friends, 26-12. Platteville leading Stevens Point with 7:28 left to go in the game, and they march down with a second down right now and 15 yards to go, I should say, for Stevens Point as they have the ball. Rip Flippo looking for a pass long, and he has a man, but it's overthrown.
First deep pass I've seen Rip Flippo throw all day. He was looking, as we said earlier, in the middle short a lot to Henderson. That pass intended for Brian, and I guess we can see why he doesn't throw deep that often, at least today, because overthrew Brian about 10 yards.
Dean Bryan seeing a lot of attempts at least coming his way. Capitalized on one of those earlier in the game. The Pointers come to the line, point their way down towards their end zone, hoping to get a field goal, or at least a score to chip away at their deficit. 26-12, they are behind. Filippo passes once again, and this time it's complete but knocked out by number 42. Number 42 of the Platteville Pioneers there, doing a good job of tackling, knocking the ball out of the hands of the intended receiver, Phil Spendy.
Phil Spendy, number 42, was the man that made the initial hit there. The intended receiver who actually caught the ball was number 91. That's Scott Swizik is his name.
All right. And the punch is up, and it's a high floater as it falls down and takes a Platteville bounce, as a matter of fact, about 2 or 3 yards, and downed by number 21 of the Stevens Point Pointers. And there the ball will lie on about the 33-yard line of Platteville. 1st and 10 for the Pioneers as they look once again to march down to add to their already 26-12 lead on this Parents' Day on an overcast Saturday. Cool. Temperature is only in the upper 40s right now, so we have a light wind. Eric Wixom, the quarterback, once again leading his Platteville Pioneers down the field. He passes off a short pass pattern and really goes almost nowhere, maybe a gain of a yard on the play or so.
Rob Del Santo, again the ball carrier, and they keyed right on him. I think they're going to have to move Rob to a tight end or a wide receiver today, because he's doing very well on the reception and the passing from Wixom, but unfortunately at the run he's been stalled all day today. He's maybe gained 1 or 2 yards, and then he'll lose 3 or 4.
Second down, 8 yards to go. And so their pass pattern, and this time it is complete to number 12, Ron Hayes, from Eric Wixom. A nice pass pattern there, Jim.
Just a standard outplay, 10 and out, and Hayes was open. They had 2 men on him, but neither one of them within 5 yards of the play. Hayes was realistically wide open, and a nice catch.
Indeed it was. First down, 10 yards to go. Ball resting on the 47-yard line, we'll call it. Platteville, Eric Wixom once again steps up to receive the ball, and indeed he does. Passes off to number 46, and he trips over his own feet there in the muddy conditions there. Dave Fisher got the ball, but maybe the slippery conditions contributed a little bit of that play.
Loss of a couple yards, it looks like, on the play. They're going to say 3. He lost 3 on that play. It'll be second down and 13.
Eric Wixom once again prepared to lead his team And he looks for a pass pattern down the field, looking, now feels the pressure, now runs up through the 50 and across the 50 and is brought down near the 45, make it the 40-yard line of Stevens Point, but there is a penalty flag down, Jim.
And it looks like the Pioneers are walking this one back. We don't know exactly what the call is yet.
It's like maybe holding on the Platteville. And we heard we hear the Platteville coaches yell clear across the field. Whoever it was, get your hands in, he says. Well, as my football coach, Vitus Rip, used to say, penalties will kill ya, he said. And indeed, he was right. The immortal words of Vitus Rip. In any case, the Pioneers doing a good job.
Again with Richland Center.
Well,
you are plugging the SWAL conference to death here today.
Well, you know, Southwest Wisconsin is pretty much all in the SWAL conference, so we have to be nice. Where are you from originally?
Reedsburg, South Central Conference.
Well, the Beavers are a good team up there.
Yeah, they. Now let's take a timeout here. Eric Wixom taking a timeout. We'll talk about the South Central Conference briefly as long as we're on the topic of
like a good idea.
high school sports. Reedsburg will be hosting one of the games, Holman against Baraboo. Baraboo and Reedsburg were tied for second in the South Central Conference. Baraboo, however, defeated Reedsburg previously, so Baraboo will go.
I see.
And unfortunately, Reedsburg had a good season. They'll finish technically tied for second, but then the loss to Baraboo. So Baraboo will go. Nakusa is the team to watch. They are Division III.
Nakusa always strong.
Nakusa very strong this year. Last year they went to the playoffs, won 2 games before they lost the state semifinal, I believe. I don't know. Can't remember exactly, but this year even better team. No one could touch them in the South Central.
We will certainly watch for them as the high school WIAA football playoffs commence on Tuesday. As we said, we'll have all the results for you on TV News 5 Sports on Wednesday afternoon. Right now we have a football game for you. 4 minutes, 39 seconds left in this third quarter here. Platteville leading the Stevens Point Pointers by a score of 26-12. Platteville on top. Eric Wixom ready to call the plays once again for the Platteville Pioneers as they had taken a timeout. And it is blocked. The pass is blocked by number 76 there.
John Schmidt deflected the Eric Wixom pass, and that'll bring up a third and very long 23 yards for the Pioneers.
But in all fairness, Jim, we probably should say that penalties really have not been a big factor for Platteville this afternoon. They've done a very good job of holding those down here today.
We've only had 4 penalties maybe in the whole game, so it is a good game. Unfortunately, 3 of them have been on the Pioneers, but like you said, they haven't been a factor in this game yet.
And Wixom looking down the pass downfield, he has a man, and it's over his shoulder. Very close, but number 33, Tom Seeger, was the intended receiver, and Tom just didn't quite turn around quick enough there.
Well, he turned around the wrong way, too. He was looking the other way, and the pass, he looked to the right, and the pass came on his left shoulder. If he would have maybe looked at the left, he would have had a better chance to catch that ball, but unfortunately got turned around the wrong way.
We will punt here at Ralph E. Davis Stadium. Will the Pioneers? Stevens Point has one man back to receive. The punt is up, and it's high, and it's received now, and now the Pointers bring it down about 5-10 yards to the 45 of the Pointers. Ball rested there on the 45-yard line at Stevens Point. That's where they will start. 1st and 10 now.
And apparently penalty?
We had a penalty flag. I didn't see it go up.
Well, they got some time right now. I'll go over the other WSUC games. Of course, the Pointers at Platteville. Eau Claire is at Whitewater. And Oshkosh is at La Crosse. That game has already been finalized, though. La Crosse defeated Oshkosh. River Falls is at Superior, and Stout is at St. Ambrose in a non-conference game. St. Ambrose, the team Platteville, will be hosting next week
All right, and I believe that is the final home game of the season, is it not?
Right.
So if you haven't seen the Pioneer football team, get out here and support them next weekend. And it's a great opportunity to be out here at the band and have the football spirit at least. A nice kick, I should say, a punt as far as Platteville goes. It was a high one. Almost got by the intended, I should say, the receiver there for the Pointers, but he did catch it and turned around for pick up a few yards.
Well, they'll have real good field position here. It looks like they're going to mark it at about the 44-yard line, and that's where the Pointers will start. 44-yard line in their own territory. 1st and 10, 4:10 left to play in the third quarter.
And Rip Flippo, still the quarterback, taking over for Roger Harrier, who did a fine job in the first half, but optioned for Flippo in the second. And boy, what a topsy-turvy play there.
Number 91, Scott Swizik, almost made the acrobatic catch, had a hand on it, fell, and it almost fell in his hands as he fell to the ground, but it'll be an incomplete pass.
And that's just fine as far as Platteville is concerned. They'd like to see about 3 more of those. 4 minutes, 4 seconds to go in the third quarter. Rip Flippo once again looking to call out the plays for the Stevens Point Pointers. Ball resting at the 45-yard line as Flippo goes back to pass, and he's pressured nicely by the defense of Platteville, and it was incomplete.
Todd Karch was the man who was responsible, I think, for breaking up that play. It looked like Dean Bryan, number 1, the intended receiver, could have had a great play, but Karch got in the way, and I think that was enough to distract Bryan from making the reception.
Nice play, once again, by the defense of the Pioneer football team. Ball stays at the 44. Third down, 10 yards to go. Flippo looks to lead his team down to a first down to stay alive. Flippo calls out the signals, now back for a pass pattern. He looks and he fires, and it's far downfield, and it's out of bounds. Out of bounds, but again, Jim, he was pressured in the backfield.
Is that number 90? It looks like Vinoy was.
I believe so.
Or no, that's Karch, number 50. Or no, Lenher. There we go.
All right.
Made him eat a little dirt there.
So Platteville will prepare to receive once again a punt on a 4th down. Number 22, Lee Phillips, once again set for the punt return for the Pioneer football team. The punt is up, and it's good. Received by Phillips, and he goes down at about 31-yard line. First down and 10, of course, as Platteville starts another possession drive from their own 32.
Seems like both offenses have stalled at this point. Fortunately for us, the defense has already scored a touchdown. Point will need at least 2 scores to get back in this game.
A long pass pattern over the middle, and it was completed from Wixom to number 83 for UW Platteville, Dan Rundy.
Okay, and what I was continuing on saying here is the defenses were a prime factor, or were the factor in the game last week, and it was like 3-0 for the longest time. And this game now, the second half is turning out to be that same way, and it's a little different because we were seeing a very offensive game in the first half. Now it's turning out to be a defensive game.
Certainly is, and while you were mentioning that, the PA announcer here at Ralph E. Davis Stadium came over. I don't believe it. I'm not sure if it's the final score or not, but the updated score now: Indiana 28, Wisconsin 20. So a homecoming for Barry Alvarez has turned sour. That's too bad because they certainly were playing a good game there in the first part.
Well, you're up 20-0. You almost want to be there. How do you explain 28 unanswered points by Indiana? Maybe Vaughn Dunbar
and especially
started to play. I don't know.
That's true. And especially, Jim, as well as the defense of Wisconsin has played the last couple of weeks. But in any case, Indiana 28, Wisconsin 20. That is the score from Camp Randall Stadium, and we'll find out if that's the final a little bit later on. Our score here at Platteville this afternoon is 26-12. Your Platteville Pioneers are leading Stevens Point with 2 minutes and 25 seconds left to go here in third quarter action. Platteville has the ball. It is third down and 14 yards to go. Ball resting on the 42-yard line of Platteville. And Wixom looks to pass, and he runs into his own man, and now he's running, and now he avoids the tackle. He runs up the sideline on the near side, and he meets the tackle, and he averts another tackle, Jim, and he has turned out to be quite a rusher here this afternoon.
Yeah, he got some good yardage there. He met one of the defensive backs from Stevens Point head on, and he won that battle. He knocked the defensive back over, gained about 5 more yards. Eric Wixom picks up the first down for the Pioneers inside their own 41-yard line.
That was about a 15 to 18-yard run, Jim, and when you get that from your quarterback, a scamper like that, you can't complain if you're the Platteville coaching staff. Coach George Christ has to be happy with his quarterback and Eric Wixom this afternoon at Platteville. Wixom once again looks, he passes off up the middle, and it's a good pass, and now the Platteville offenseman is running down the field, tackled finally at the 10, a nice run by number 46, Jim, that being Dave Fisher.
Great run for Fisher. He hasn't broken a run all day, and he usually has one at least once a game, and that's Dave Fisher's big run, a big call it about 28 yards on that run. It'll be another first down, and the Pioneers are on the 12-yard line and definitely threatening to score again.
That's for sure. We could certainly appreciate that and use the score. Wixom once again looks to pass off, and he does, and now the things are kind of jumbled up there as a barrage of players kind of meeting there at the line of scrimmage.
Tom Steger maybe gained a yard, if that. They're going to say he gained nothing. It'll be 2nd and 10.
Maybe a few inches. 41 seconds left to go in the third quarter, so probably one more play here before the end of the quarter. Platteville will try to make it a scoring play. Wixom once again looks to pass as he goes in the backfield, now pressured, and he gets the throw off, and it was up for grabs. No reception on the far sideline, the referee tells us.
I thought it was almost intercepted there. It was intended for Jakes. It looked like they both were out of bounds anyway. It would have been incomplete, but the pass intended for Jakes is incomplete. It'll be 3rd down and 10. The clock stops with 27 seconds left.
So they will at least get one more playoff here before the end of the third quarter. 26-12, Platteville leads Stevens Point. And they look to add to that. And now Platteville calls a timeout. They'll talk things over.
That is their second one in this half, and it's only the third quarter. I don't understand.
Maybe some confusion on the play.
Hopefully this won't be a factor, but right now the Pioneers using all their timeouts in the third. They'll have nothing if they need them in the fourth, and that could turn out to be a disadvantage. Like I said, hopefully not.
Well, we will certainly see. As you said, as we have a timeout here quickly, as you mentioned, Jim, Platteville next week will be hosting St. Ambrose University of Iowa next Saturday. As we said, the final home game of 1991 season. It will honor the 1991 seniors and the UW Platteville Athletic Hall of Fame inductees. The Pioneers close out the season at UW Eau Claire on November 9th. And getting into November, games start getting a little bit cold.
Hey, that's when the snow starts to fly, too.
We'll let Brian Dolan and Tim King sit out here in the cold weather next week.
You got it.
The timeout is over. The Pioneers have talked things over. They're ready to go again. Wixom looking to get the ball as he calls out the signals for the Platteville Pioneers as he looks to pass now, and it's a short pass over and a little bit overthrown. A nice play. It was conceived nicely, Jim, but a little bit overthrown to Wixom. Otherwise, it may be another score for Platteville.
Pass intended for number 11, Joe Overnader. But a little overthrown, as you mentioned. As a result, it'll be 4th and 10, and we'll see Sikorsky, not Wixom, going for the field goal attempt here. And it's going to be about a 30-yard attempt, so we'll see.
The kick is up, and it's no good. A little bit wide to the right.
Troubles for the kicking team still continue.
And that is the way that possession ends as far as the Platteville Pioneers are concerned. 20 seconds left to go, so we'll be changing ends of the field quite rapidly. The Pointers take over on downs. It will be 1st and 10, ball on the 20 of the Stevens Point Pointers. Getting a little bit chilly out here now, Jim. I think temperatures are starting to drop a little bit as we...
The rain is gone, but the wind has come in now.
Yeah, kind of picked up a little bit. Filippo looks to pass over the middle and broke it up nicely, actually, by number 25 there for the Pioneers, Brad Schober.
Pass is intended for Scott Swizik, number 91. And it's no good. 2nd and 10 with 16 seconds left for the Pointers. If the Pioneers can manage to hold on and win this one, this would be the Pointers' only 2nd loss of the season. The Pioneers would pick up their 3rd win.
And we certainly hope that is the outcome here at Ralph E. Davis Stadium this afternoon. Filippo once again looking to pass as he has a little bit of time, and he gets the pass off. And once again overthrown, number 22 there for Platteville, making an attempt maybe to make a pickoff. Lee Phillips there, but really overthrown of everybody.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, but that pass was intended for Lee Phillips because...
I think you're probably right. At least it looked that way, I'm sure now. But from our vantage point, that was certainly what we saw.
Certainly the only one that could have made that reception at all.
Indeed. 3rd down and 10 yards to go. Rip Filippo, and now he had a little bit of trouble grabbing that pass from the center. He passes over the middle, and a nice pass pattern really for the trouble he had getting the ball off from the center, and once again intended for number 1, Dean Bryan. Give Filippo credit for getting the pass off, but we've seen some outstanding play here. Nothing else this afternoon, as our score reflects, 26-12, Platteville on top of Stevens Point, a 4th down play, and Platteville will be in a position to receive the ball again, Jim.
And in good field position too. Lee Phillips is at the Platteville 46-yard line is where he's standing. So, regardless of whether he gets any run on this or not, Platteville should have good field position.
A high kick and a sack, not a sack, but a tackle in any case. On
no
Phillips
gain
there.
on the play,
That's
rather.
right.
It was a good kick, and that brought Phillips back. We said he started at about the 46-yard line. He had to backtrack to about the 35 to catch it, and then was nailed right away, got a couple yards, but it'll be 1st down and 10 for the Pioneers. Still decent field position, and that ends the quarter, as we would say. It's 26-12.
Sounds good, and across the way, the Platteville Pioneer Band plays a little twist and shout. At the end of the 3rd quarter, Platteville plays a little twist and shout, and that's what the defense will look to do as well as the offense. Twist the way down and shout for a victory here at Ralph E. Davis Stadium this afternoon.
The only score for the Pioneers in that 3rd quarter, the 50-yard interception touchdown by Bruce Feige. A little deja vu if you were here a couple weeks ago when they defeated Superior. He scored on the exact same play, and 26-12 as a result. Platteville leading Stevens Point as we start the 4th quarter.
Platteville ready to go. Eric Wixom at quarterback once again. Ball resting on the 38-yard line of Platteville, and Wixom nearly draws Stevens Point off the line, but does get the ball off for a little gainer there. Rob Del Santo once again carrying the ball.
That's probably one of the largest gains Del Santo has had today, a gain of 4 yards.
That's true. They've had Del Santo's number.
Yeah. He still managed to have a good game, though.
He really has. Wixom once again calling out the plays for Platteville. Hands off to number 16, it looked like.
I think it was 46.
All
I
right.
didn't get a good look. That would have been Fisher if it was 46.
That's probably correct, and it is. The one side of the 4 got blocked from my view for a second.
Gain of only a yard on that play. It'll be 3rd and 5, and again, Wixom will have to go to the air unless they've got another trick or two up their sleeve.
And now, Jim, something we haven't seen most of the game, a little meeting over here on the near side. We can't see it on our television screen right now, but the coaches here on the offense having a little meeting, I think, as far as now when we get the ball, this is what we're going to do. Right now, Wixom having trouble in the backfield, and it looked like he had some trouble there. And indeed, he did a lot of pressure in the backfield. He got the ball off, but avoided the sack, but just barely.
Bob Hare was the one threatening Wixom, and he, like you mentioned, almost got the sack. Wixom just barely got it away, but I couldn't even tell you who that was intended for, because he threw it away just to avoid the sack.
And now the little offensive meeting over here at the near side is broken up on the Stevens Point side. And as we said, as I was saying there, Jim, I think now we're in this situation, the Stevens Point Pointers want to make sure they have their signals clear. They want to make sure they know what the plays are when they get the ball, because time is running out. And you don't want to waste a timeout in this situation. You don't want to waste any time on the field not knowing what you're going to do, what your plan of action is.
Right.
So definitely Stevens Point is set to go, but I'm sure that the Pioneer coaches have the defense ready to go as well to shut down any ideas of a comeback on Stevens Point's part. 13:31 to go in this game here on a cool Saturday afternoon. Platteville leads Stevens Point 26-12. The Pioneers on top. 1st and 10 for the Pointers. Ball resting on the 29-yard line. And now there is a fumble, and Platteville has recovered, Jim. Platteville has recovered.
No problem for the referees to get that one clear. Recovered by, who we got here? Number 50. That if it was 50, it's Karch.
All right.
Or Lenher, excuse me. Lenher
Okay.
is number 50.
Well, we'll give him the credit. And now, Jim, yes, Jim, I'm sorry. I gave my players and my co-partners mixed up here. But Jim, Platteville has a very good field position. Ball to 25. As they look for a long pass pattern, but no, and a sack for the Pointer defense.
Yeah. Unfortunately, the Pioneers get a break, and right after they get the break, the fumble recovery, there's a sack, and I don't know what exactly that play was, but it looked like there were 2 receivers going deep. I don't know if they were going to the end zone on the first down. I don't agree with that, if that was their play, the short passes or the runs. Right now, you don't need to score as quick as that. I mean, run the clock down a little bit, get the score. If we can get the clock, right now it's at 12:43. If we get it under 10 minutes with another score, I think that could seal the game.
We certainly hope so. Right now, Eric Wixom will once again feeling pressure, but he gets the ball off, and is it complete? No, it is not.
It doesn't look like it.
It
No.
is not.
It was
one of those on-the-ground catches once again, and apparently the ball hit the ground first.
intended for Rob Del Santo. It looked like he trapped it, and as a result, it'll be 3rd and 19.
So after a lucky break by the defense, getting the fumble recovery, the offense has come on and had a little bit of trouble.
You got to give the Pointer defense some credit now. They're starting to break through the Pioneer line, and they're really pressuring Eric Wixom.
And during the halftime, Jim, I was talking to some of the Pointer fans, and they said, we don't understand what's happening. Our defense has been what's keyed us all year long, and they're letting Platteville run all over us. And so they were a little bit concerned. So maybe, Jim, as you said, the Pointer defense finally coming alive, doing what they're capable of.
And that was a running play. No gain, if any. There was a yard, maybe. But as a result, it'll be 4th down, and it's punting time for the Pioneers.
Well, hopefully they'll have a good punt here and put the Pointers deep in their own territory. And the punt is out. And indeed, it's a nice
That's a good punt.
A very good punt. As the Pointers will start at about their own 4-yard line. Excuse me, their own 8-yard line. So it'll be tough for Pointers to come out that deep, but we've seen some real good plays by the offense of Stevens Point before, and they'll try to do it again.
If they want to score on this drive, they've got to go about 91 yards. And with time running out, 11:53, certainly enough time, but they're going to need a play or two, a big play, to get on the board, and I don't think they can do it personally against the Pioneer defense.
Well, the Pioneer defense has certainly been stifling here this afternoon, and indeed they are again, as they avoid at least the first down.
I think if the Pointers want to win this one, they're going to need a little luck.
It brings up a 2nd down and 2 yards to go. Ball on the 15 of the Pointer yard line, the 15-yard line of the Pointers, rather. Filippo once again looking to pass down the sideline to the far side and nearly picked off, Jim, by number 45 of the Pioneers.
That's Kleinhans, I believe, Randy Kleinhans.
Indeed, you are correct. And it's 3rd and 2. The defense of the Pioneers once again taking it up a notch. Trying to shut down a little offense here by Stevens Point. 11:14 to go in the contest. Platteville leads Stevens Point 26-12. And did they get the first down? It looks like a timeout will have to be taken to see the chain gang.
Yep,
No,
the chain gang is moving,
they
so it
moved
is
it
a
already.
first down.
I thought it looked like the head official there was taking a timeout, but I was mistaken.
Clock continues to roll, 11 minutes and counting.
1st and 10. Ball resting on the 18-yard line of Stevens Point. Rip Flippo looking to get his team down into scoring territory, trying to come back against a strong team in the Pioneers this afternoon. And now a near side run by the Pointers, and all the way down to about the 28-yard line. A nice run by number 6, I believe.
That's Robert Reed. The quick flip to him. He gained about 9 on the play, and the Pointers will be short of the first down. And they're going to say he got it, so he did gain 10 yards on that play.
Nice little run. And we see a little bit of maybe a point of light, if you will, no pun intended, for the Pointers here this afternoon on the offensive spark here. As they have seemed to put things together, maybe that little meeting down here with their head coaches, maybe that had something to do with it, Jim. In any case, Rip Flippo getting things organized, getting the job done, marching his field down the team in another short running attempt, good for about 5 yards, but a fumble on the play, and who has the possession?
It looks like the Pioneers definitely. There was about 6 Pioneers, including Bruce Feige. I think he's the one that made the recovery. But Robert Reed was the one that carried the ball for the Pointers. He gained about 5. He lost the ball just as he was falling to the ground. It was loose, recovered by the Pioneers. And again, a Pointer turnover deep in Platteville territory.
And now, Jim, let's see if they can do something with it. Last time they had the opportunity, it was squandered. Eric Wixom will look to make that a little bit different this time as he hands off to the near side and runs down for a gain, well, only about to back to the line of scrimmage. It kind of fooled me running at the slant there. Ball carrier number 31.
Rob Del Santo, he gained about a yard on that play. They're going to give him forward progress because he did gain at least a yard before he was knocked backwards.
9:42 left to go in the game. Platteville leads 26-12. Ball resting on the 38-yard line of the Pointers. 2nd down, 9 yards to go. Eric Wixom once again calling out the signals for Platteville as he hands off to number 33, and he runs on the far side, picks up maybe a couple of yards on the play. Tom Steger, once again, doing a good job. Third down, 9 yards to go. Ball resting on the 37, so I should say 3rd and 8 with that pickup
He did
of a
gain
yard.
a yard on that play. I wasn't sure how many he had gained on that. I was waiting for the scoreboard.
It's getting a little dark here, Jim, as they've turned on the lights. In fact, the lights have been on the whole game, but I think now maybe they're just kind of taking hold a little bit. Wixom looks for a long pass and overthrown to number 33.
The pass was intended for Steger, but deeply overthrown. No way anyone could have caught that one, not even Magic Johnson.
No, I don't. that was a long one.
And again, the Pioneers recover a fumble, but they have to punt it away.
Yep.
Fortunately, they will be punting again deep in their own end zone.
Punt is up, and it looks like another good punt. Goes into the end zone, though. But a penalty flag now is thrown. And I'm not sure what that could have been. Maybe a personal foul of sorts, but we'll see.
I think that's what it's going to be. The man deep to receive the punt for the Pointers, Pete McAdams, number 12, it looks like. I think he was the one clapping at where the flag went down. That's where he was, where the flag was. Or the flag fell where he was is what I'm trying to say. And I think he got hit by one of the Pioneers when they were trying to get the ball.
Well, there is a conference on the far side. One of the Platteville Pioneers right now over there trying to negotiate things in the Platteville way. But it appears clipping will be the call, and it will, I should say illegal block, excuse me.
They say on the Pointers?
On the Pointers, yes, that's what they said. Illegal block on the Pointers.
Well, they had us both fooled.
Yeah.
I thought for sure it was something against the Pioneers there. McAdams was clapping.
Well, in any case, we will take it.
Sure.
We'll be glad to do so here. As
it's originally marked at the 20. Now, are they going to take us back 10 yards here?
We'll see what happens. Now, here's an interesting situation, Jim. And they move the ball all the way down, Jim, to the 10-yard line. And it's a first down.
It'll be 1st and 20, 10-yard line for the Pointers.
Ball resting on the 10-yard line itself, as Jim said, 1st and 20. And the Pointers get set again. And it was a little short pass play over to the far side. Good for a couple of yards. As a matter of fact,
They got almost to the original line of scrimmage.
Yeah.
It was a 9-yard pass completion from Flippo. So it'll be 2nd and 11. 8-19 and counting. Platteville up 26-12. You think we can breathe a little bit easier? You think the Pioneers have this one wrapped up yet?
well, I think we can breathe easier, but as JRU used to say, it ain't over till the fat lady sings. so we'll see what happens. Rose gets the pass completion for the Pointers, number 32.
Still not enough for the first down. He got about half of the yards that they needed. It'll be 3rd and 5. So a big 3rd down here.
It is.
Don't be surprised. Well, maybe it's a little early yet, but if they don't make this 3rd down and it's 4th, don't be surprised if the Pointers go for it, maybe.
All right. That's certainly a possibility. And now there's a running over on the far side there as a couple of Pointers gang up on a couple of Pioneers gang up on the Pointer there to bring him out of bounds. And it is, Jim, as you said, the 4th down and about 2 yards to go. Will they go for it?
No, they're going to punt. You can see the
All right.
punting team coming out.
How about a fake?
Maybe it is a little early.
A
Yeah,
fake?
well, that's
Is that a possibility?
That's a possibility.
We saw the Pioneers use it to gain a touchdown, actually, earlier in the game. We'll see what happens
We got
this time.
three running backs between the line and the kicker. Let's see what happens. And it is a punt.
And it is a punt. Indeed it is. Phillips lost his footing there. I think he would have gotten away from the defenders had he had a better footing through no fault of his own, certainly, and just the playing conditions on the field today. But does well just to get the pass down, and the Pioneers can chip away at that 7:08 on the clock. They lead the game right now, 26-12, with, as I said, Platteville on top. Eric Wixom, again the quarterback, doing a good job all day. Stands to lead his players down the field once again. Ball resting at the 44-yard line of the Platteville Pioneers. Wixom now looking to pass off to number 33. And it's over the far side for maybe a gain, but maybe not. It looks like about the line of scrimmage.
I think he got to the line of scrimmage if he even got that far. It might be a loss of a yard.
Number 33, Tom Stager. Once again, the ball carrier. Second down, 10 yards to go. Thank you for joining us for Pioneer Football. Todd Allball along with Jim Mead in place of your usual announcers who are off on vacation. In fact, Brian Dolan is down in Atlanta, Georgia for a little convention down there. And, of course, a lot of excitement being around the World Series, the Atlanta Braves. And who are you rooting for, Jim?
Oh, the Braves, of course.
The Braves, I'm a Twins fan myself. So
Fight with me if you want to. But
well, I guess I look at it, the Braves got all the credit during the regular season, and I think the Twins have just done the job quietly, and I'd like to see them win it, but oh well. Maybe, I think one guy on ESPN said, it's destiny. God has chosen the Braves to win in 1991, but Minnesota is undefeated, of course, in the Metrodome in postseason play, 6-0, so we'll see what happens. In any case, Platteville has not been undefeated this year, but they look to pick up another win here. As there's only 5:51 left to go in this game, they lead the Stevens Point Pointers 26-12, and Eric Wixom once again hands off, and a short gain on the play, on a third down play, and that brings up the fourth down, and the punting team comes on for the Pioneers, rather.
Well, you can see Coach George Christ is playing conservatively. They're not going to the air. They're keeping the ball on the ground. I have to go along with that logic. They're up by 14. The Pointers need 2 scores to either tie or win, and with 5 minutes left, very conservative play. I'm all for it.
And a little hanky on the play. Looks like the penalty was called before the play actually got off. And we'll wait to see what the official call is. It is against the Platteville Pioneers. A legal procedure, the call made by the head official in the white hat. Eric Wixom ready to snap. Is he snapping? I'm not sure. On the punt. I guess not. No, he is not. The punt just barely got off as some pressure there by the Pointer defense. And now the Pioneers drive Stevens Point out at about the 36-yard line. Well, Jim, if Stevens Point has any chance of coming back at all in this game, they're going to have to do it on this possession.
And the next one. Keep in mind, Stevens Point has all their timeouts left. They can use those on their next defensive series if they score quickly here. Look for a lot of passes, a lot of deep ones near the sidelines.
And there's one for you on the sideline. Rip Flippo passes over and runs out of bounds at about the 45, I believe.
It was
the 40.
Jim Henderson, his favorite target in this second half, made the reception. That's not the kind of pass that's going to get the Pointers back in the game. Only a gain of 3. Maybe, that's saying something about the Platteville defense again.
Once again, Rip Flippo looking to pass, and there's a long pass for you, and out of the outstretched arms, number 32 was the intended receiver for Stevens Point.
Yeah, a little out of Barry Rose's reach that time. Lee Phillips on the coverage, and it'll be 3rd and 7. And
the Platteville defense can hold Stevens Point here I'll go along and breathe easier with you.
I guarantee they'll go for it on 4th down here. They'll have no choice.
All right, all right.
But right now, 2 crucial downs right here.
3rd down and 7. Rip Flippo looking to pass. Will it be a long? And it's over the middle, and it's a nice little pass pattern, and it gets him the 1st down.
First time we've seen Dean Bryan catch the ball in, I believe, the 2nd half. He was the threat in the 1st half. Flippo hadn't been able to get to Bryan this whole 2nd half. The Pioneer secondary really playing against him well this 2nd half. But right now, Bryan gets the reception for the 1st down, and there's a flag.
Looks like the 4th of July. Flags all over the place. Yellow, though, instead of red, white, and blue. And the officials will meet, discuss it, and come away with a decision.
Looks like offsides. Oh, okay.
Indeed. Against the Stevens Point Pointers. And that brings up a 1st and 15 now, Jim. So things get progressively harder here for Stevens Point as the game progresses. 4:26 to go in the game. Platteville leads Stevens Point 26-12. Filippo back to pass. It's a long pass, incomplete. Once again, Dean Bryan looked like maybe the intended receiver on that one, but just a little bit low for him, actually, out of his reach. And that brings up 2nd and 15. 4:16 now to go in the game. The Platteville defense trying to stay warm on the sidelines. Get ready to go in for George Christ and his Pioneers. Saying if we could just hang on for 4 minutes more, we will have another conference win. And now the ball is loose on the ground. Who gets it? We will see. It looked as if though Filippo came in himself and got it, but there is no official call from the referee. The Platteville sideline was cheering, and indeed, the Platteville defense has recovered the ball. So a very, very big play, Jim, and that pretty much shuts down Stevens Point for this game.
Nose guard Kenny Nice made the recovery
And that
on
was
that
nice.
fumble. That was nice, very nice. Again, we'll see the conservative play, I believe, here by the Pioneers. Look for handoff to Del Santo.
And indeed you are correct, but a little lost on the play. Eric Wixom handing off to Rob Del Santo. That's a great sports name, Del Santo. I like that. Almost as good as my favorite sports name, which is Aranza Sanchez Vicario. I just say it because I like her name. Sometimes I just mention her name. But Rob Del Santo, another great sports name, I think. And hopefully he'll sustain maybe the great playing capabilities of Aranza Sanchez Vicario. In any case, we're on the football field and not the tennis courts. It is 3:34 left to go in the game as Wixom passes off. And for a little gainer there, Del Santo once again the ball carrier.
Almost near the line of scrimmage, the original line of scrimmage. It looks like it'll be 3rd and call it 10.
The clock continues to run. We are at 3:10 to go left in this contest between Platteville and the visiting Stevens Point Pointers. The Pioneers of Platteville lead 26-12. Eric once again looking to pass. He goes back, and it's complete. It's complete, and what a job again by Eric Wixom.
Fell down and threw the ball both at the same time. The pass was complete by number 12. It looks like Ron Hayes, and not enough for the 1st down. Only a gain of 2, actually, maybe 3, and it'll be 4th down for the Pioneers. No question, I think they'll punt. There's only 2:33 left in the game. If you stick the Pointers down in the deep in their own end zone, I don't even think the Pointers can will have the time to get another score.
I could agree with you. I couldn't agree with you more, in other words. I think you are correct. And now we see a timeout for Stevens Point. So the Pointers trying to salvage something here in the last 20 minutes of this afternoon's game. 2 minutes, 15 seconds left to play here at Ralph E. Davis Stadium in the heart of southwest Wisconsin, Platteville. Thanks for joining us here on a brisk Saturday afternoon at Platteville. It is Parents' Day, and Jim, a lot of parents will be going home proud of their young men here at the football field this afternoon.
But probably very cold, too.
Probably. That's what they sell hot chocolate over there for, probably.
As usual, the Platteville Pioneers play very tough at home, beating a team that by record is a better team than they are. And more than doubling the score, I think the Pioneers have pretty much dominated this game.
I certainly think so, too. We have to tip our hats to the entire Platteville team and coaching staff, and the punt is up.
Nice
and it
corner
looks like
kick.
another nice corner punt, as you said. Yes, indeed. And the ball rests, Jim, at about the 6-yard line. So an outstanding punting job there by the Platteville team.
Brian Cohn, our punter, he hasn't had a lot of punts yet today. The Platteville is moving the ball very well. Of those he's punted, he's had good luck with. Only one rolled in the end zone. He's probably punted like 3 or 4 times the whole game, 3 times the second half. But he's stuck the Pointers deep in their own end zone here.
He certainly has.
More than once, definitely.
Certainly has. 2 minutes and 7 seconds to go as Filippo for the long Hail Mary pass down, and it's caught, and he could go all the way, and he's into the end zone, and Stevens Point has just brought a point of light to this crowd here on the near side. And Jim, with a minute 55, as we said, it ain't over till it's over.
Right, looks like a 94-yard pass from Filippo to... Who is our receiver on that play? Did you catch that?
I didn't catch that. I'm sorry, I didn't.
I don't remember who the receiver was. 94-yard pass completion. And this game not over yet, as you mentioned, 26-18. And Platteville uses their last timeout. Need a boost by the coaches, maybe.
I think so. I don't think George Christ will be saying, well, let's just go out there and do a job. I think he'll be giving a little pep talk over there to his team. 26-18 now. Platteville still leading Stevens Point, but the momentum has to be going a little bit over towards the Stevens Point side here.
And for the first time in this second half, the Stevens Point Pointer crowd where we are sitting was on their feet and cheering while you were doing the Chris Berman imitation there. They have scored for the first time in this second half. Each team now has scored a touchdown. Of course, Platteville's was that defensive interception by Bruce Fege. And now a 94-yard pass completion gives the Pointers their first touchdown in the second half. It's 26-18. Count on the 2-point conversion here because they're going to need 14 points just to tie it. And I think they're going to go for the 2-point conversion here to make sure if they score another time, they've got the 14 without kicking the extra point.
Sounds like good strategy to me. As Stevens Point goes to the line, Platteville looking to shut them down. As they look to go for the 2-point conversion, and Rip Filippo looks for his man in the end zone, but to no avail. He is tackled far in the backfield by number 22.
Lee Phillips, the defensive back, came in and sacked Filippo. And right now it is 26-18. A big play there. Stevens Point now will have to score another touchdown and get a 2-point conversion to just tie the game. And if Platteville can hang on, run out the clock, of course the Pointers have 2 timeouts left. The Pioneers, if they can run out the clock, will still have the victory. Even though this game has taken a little bit of a change here, it's turning into be a thrill at the end anyway.
And that really, Jim, is the kind of football we like to see, as we've seen so many games here at Ralph E. Davis Stadium come down to the last minutes, and indeed, this one no different. George Christ and his Pioneers looking to line up here to receive the kickoff by Stevens Point.
By no surprise, Todd, it's going to be an onside kick here.
Dave Schneider kicking off. We have not seen him kick so far this game. And a nice offside kick. And it looks like Platteville covered from our vantage point, but we'll see what happens. And now Stevens Point is feverishly pointing towards their end zone as if they indeed got the onside kick. And it's a huddled masses mess on the far side.
If you look, both stands are clapping. Now the Pioneers louder than the Pointers.
And
but
finally the referee.
Each team was stating that they had the ball, and we were mixed up ourselves. We didn't know who to believe because the mess was there. We couldn't see the ball. But it is the Pioneers' ball. It was recovered. The onside kick was recovered by the Pioneers. With 1:54, they have it first down and 10.
And now, of course, let's start again. Now, of course, the Pointer defense will look to cause some kind of a fumble or strip the ball away in some form, try to get in there on that play. And now Wixom sacked in the backfield. And that is exactly, Jim, what Stevens Point wants to do.
And that's exactly what George Chris doesn't want to see. His team going backwards with so much time left. Only 1:45. The Pointers, unless I'm mistaken, will call another timeout to stop the clock at 1:45. Platteville will have it second down, and it looks like about, it's going to be 25, about a 15-yard loss for, well, there it is, second down and 24 with 1:45 left.
Ball resting on Platteville's own 40-yard line. Well, the adrenaline maybe is flowing a little bit faster in the veins of many participants here in the stands, getting people warm as the temperature outside gets chillier.
Platteville needs a first down to finish this game, but right now they need 24 yards.
And Eric Wixom, who has done a fine job all afternoon, steps up to try to close out a minute 45 left to go in the game. Wixom right now passes off in the middle, and again a loss on the play. George Christ has to be concerned, Jim.
Well, that was by Dal Santo, and call me crazy, but he hasn't gained any yardage hardly at all this whole game. The Pointers have had his number, it seems like. It almost seems to me like you'd want to keep the ball away from him as far as the running goes, unless they just want to just down the ball.
To keep the clock running, but as you said, now once again, Stevens Point utilizing another timeout.
They have no timeouts left. Platteville with no timeouts left, but Platteville facing a 3rd and 25, a loss of 1 on that play, and only 4 seconds were knocked off the clock there.
A minute 41 left to go, as Jim said. 26-18 is our score. Your Platteville Pioneers are leading Stevens Point by that score. 26-18, Platteville on top, 1:41 left to go. 3rd down, 25 yards to go. This is a crucial play for Platteville. I really need to say that, but it is, of course. Eric Wixom steps up. These are what college football games are made of. The final 20 seconds. Platteville looking for a win, and now they attempt to strip the ball. Jim, but were they offsides before their ball was snapped? That is the question.
Well, let's see what the flag, according to the referees, it's going to be to, the ball will be given to the Pointers.
Have they made the call, or the Pointers simply jumping up and down?
I don't know.
Are we having a little bit of a false start again? That could be the case. They're convening in the middle. And both sides, I think, are kind of yelling at the referees, we're right. And now the referee will make the decision, and he will give the ball, it appears, to the Stevens Point Pointers. Yes, indeed, he will. The penalty was against Platteville, but of course, since they got the fumble recovery, it was declined by Stevens Point.
And they're not going to tell us from this angle what the penalty is, so we don't know what exactly happened on that play, but it looks like Wixom fumbled the snap. The Pointers recovered. They were blitzing, and it turned out to work out for the Pointers. The blitz man recovered the fumble, and it's first down and 10 for the Pointers on their own 37.
A minute 40 to go. Filippo back to pass, and now he is sacked. He is sacked back at the 48-yard line of Platteville. I should say at Stevens Point.
Jeff Cuter and number 90, Mike Vanoy, were on the tackle.
And what a timely sack for the Platteville defense.
Flippo.
And Filippo just throws it into the ground and stops the clock. There is a flag on the play. We will wait to hear the official word.
Do you see the flag? Oh, there it is.
Yes, on the near side here. And it was initially called against Stevens Point. Now the referees are talking it over, make sure they have the call right. In a game like this, you want to make sure you have each and every call right with only a minute 19 left to go in the game. Platteville leads 26-18. Illegal motion, the call against the Stevens Point Pointers. Penalty is declined, and the Platteville football team trying to get the fans in our stands excited over there, looking for a little moral support from the parents on Parents' Day. A minute 19 left to go in the game. Platteville leads 26-18. Right now, third down, 23 yards to go for the first down for Filippo. Rip Filippo for the Stevens Point Pointers. He is back to pass once again, looking for a man downfield. He passes long. It's over the middle, and it is a completed pass. It's a completed pass, and no touchdown.
It's not a touchdown, but he's going to be inside the 5-yard line. That pass, it looked like, should have been caught, intercepted by Randy Kleinhans. It went off his hand, and it fell into the receiver's hand for Stevens Point. The clock keeps running. It'll be a minute 8 left. The clock is temporarily stopped right now, so they can move the chains, and so the referees can move the ball where they want.
Now it's back in motion. It's over the middle, and just thrown out of the end zone.
Just to stop the clock, maybe?
I believe so. I think they want to step the play a little bit more. I think they probably want to get down and say, this is what we're going to do. Jim, what a turn of events. In the last 2.5 minutes, we have seen the Pioneer football team going from what almost seemed a certain victory to now they are hanging on literally by the skin of their teeth.
Well, the Pointers are making us eat our words. With 5 minutes left, we thought the game was over.
And now Rip Filippo looking to lead his team into the end zone. Platteville trying to stop them. And Filippo passes over, and it's into the end zone, but it is intercepted. Intercepted in the end zone. Intercepted.
Phil Spendy with the key interception in the end zone. The pass was intended for the Pointer receiver. Don't know which one it is.
And it was nearly a touchdown, Jim.
It's Scott Swizik, number 91, it looked like the intended receiver. The ball right off his chest into the hands of Phil Spendy.
All he had to do was close his arms around the ball, and this was a totally different ball game. But not the case, and give credit where credit is due once again to the Platteville defense.
They're saying now that Spendy caught the ball on about the 1-yard line. So if you're Eric Wixom, maybe take the safety?
I think you do. I think you do. And he tries to charge out a little bit on a quarterback keeper. 49 seconds to go. The clock remains ticking. Both teams are out of timeouts. 26-18 to score. Platteville still leads Stevens Point.
Maybe it's not a good idea to take the safety on this. I was thinking about it, and if the Pointers had another play following the safety and scored, the game would be over.
That's true. That's very true.
So good strategy by the Pioneers to keep the ball in play and to keep the clock running. This should be the last play.
And it looks like another quarterback keeper. 16 seconds to go. The clock will run out. And that's the way things end from Ralph E. Davis Stadium this afternoon as Platteville hangs on for the win. But, Jim, what an exciting game.
Hey, we thought 5 minutes, it was 26-12, Pioneers leading. 5 minutes left in this game. It didn't look good. It looked good for the Pioneers, of course, but the Pointers were down. They didn't give up that 94-yard pass completion from Flippo on the first play. following the punt by Cone, and they were back in the game. The Pioneers fumbled. The Pointers got it back, made a big play, only 3 yards deep from tying this game possibly. But the Pointers defense, again, ever sharp, down in the own end zone.
That's right, and as we said, it could have been an entirely different game, Jim. But once again, we have to give credit where credit is due, and that's to the Pioneer defense. I think really they did an outstanding job tonight. And also, I think, Jim, you have to look at Eric Wixom. What a fine job of leading his team on less than perfect field conditions here. He got away with some big field possession and some good throws off there. And congratulations to him and the whole football team as well.
All right, well, I'll wrap it up really quickly.
All right.
Right now by telling you the final score was 26-18. Stevens Point did get on the board first. It was a 28-yard field goal by Dave Schneider. That was in the first quarter. Then Platteville came back, a 21-yard run by Tom Steger. The kick failed, and Platteville led at the end of one quarter 6-3. Platteville had a 9-yard pass completion off a fake field goal attempt. It was Pitzel, the pass from Altman. The conversion did once again failed. It was 12-3, Platteville led. Schneider again for the Pointers with a 27-yard field goal, made it 12-6. Rob Del Santo, an 18-yard run in the second quarter on the next possession. Russ Jakes caught a pass from Eric Wixom. For the conversion, it was 20-6. And then Stevens Point had a 30-yard pass from to Brian. That was from Hari in the first half. It was 20-12 at the end of the first half. Only 2 scores, 1 each in the second half. The Platteville defense scored on a 50-yard interception from Bruce Fege for the touchdown. The kick failed. And then Flippo, a 94-yard pass late in this fourth quarter. The final score was 26-18 rather.
And that will do it here from Ralph E. Davis Stadium this afternoon. This has been a TV5 Pioneer Sports presentation. For Jim Meade, I'm Todd Allball. Join your regular announcers Brian Dolan and Tim King next weekend right here when the Pioneers take on St. Ambrose College. A nice win for the Platteville Pioneers.
Problems and help you solve them. If you're being abused using drugs or alcohol, running away,